And I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
We've got a very entertaining show. We're going to be talking about what happened last week. I know I didn't have a Rob Taylor report on Monday, and I didn't have a Friday night rant. It's true. It's true. I have to apologize. I did get an interview last week with a gentleman who is from the state of Maine fishing industries, talking about the wind turbines. And it was a great interview. And unfortunately, I had technical difficulties and I wasn't able to play the interview last Monday. So you didn't get any Rob Taylor report. And that's why also I was at the fair. So that's why we didn't do the Friday night rants, but I have to apologize to the gentleman who came on to Jerry, who came on from the Maine fishing industry to talk about those wind turbines, because he was a great guest. I'm going to get him back on. We'll have him on in a couple of weeks. I'm also planning on getting several people on from the American Policy Institute. They've been doing some really good articles on the private property getting taken away all across America. It's a hard thing. It's a very hard thing. Let me see if I can get this. Bloop. Hey, there I am. I don't know why I was in that little screen. But we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the fair, what we did there, but we're going to have to talk about a very uncomfortable subject. We've got a Republican Party that's out of control. And I've got the vice chair of the Republican Party on with me right now, and that would be Chris Castleman. Chris, how you doing, man?
And how are you? Good to see you.
Oh,
I'm having a crazy busy week. You don't have to apologize for not having a show. You are crazy busy.
Yeah. In case anyone wants to know what we were doing, that's I don't know how many sheets, but over 1,200 signatures on 2 different petitions. Marty, Danessa rocks. Danessa just rocks. And Rod Taylor was out there. Nicole was out there. Christine Godfrey was out. Thank you, Christine. We had so many volunteers. It was really cool. The whole time we had always about 3 to 5 people manning the booth. We didn't even expect that. It was very few times when it was just me or Marty or me and Danessa. And so it was really cool because there was a lot of people going by and a lot of activity happening. And it was a blast. I had a good time. I missed you there.
I missed out. I'm sorry. I've been crazy busy.
What's good?
You
don't have to
accumulate life debt when you run for office and do things like this, do podcasts. And it was time to pay off some of it. So
explain to people what life debt is, because we all know what debt is. But when you are an activist or a volunteer for any organization and you really are dedicated to that and you put a lot of time into it, explain to people what happens.
Well, I mean, it's like any hobby if you get too involved, right? Like you've got all the stuff around the house, you've got your family, you've got, your loved ones, your close friends even. And your other hobbies, your other things, I like to garden, I like to go for a run, and I like to read, and all those things take a huge backseat when you're like all in on an election or all in on a podcast trying to encourage people to run for office, things like that. So it's all good, but my garden needed a lot of weeding and watering, and then more weeding, and I've come quite out of shape. So well, the past 7 weeks has been better. I've been getting a lot better back into shape, but I gained like, I don't know, 30, 40 pounds over the election.
Politics will
So
do that to you. And I don't
yeah,
know if it's so much the stress, the fact that you're not, it's not something that you're active because you're always going to meetings and you're just sitting there at the meetings,
yep.
long hours. None of these damn meetings are ever a quick 30-minute, hour-long meeting. It's like 3 hours at a time. We're sitting through these things. And
Well, and then
it
there's the,
just,
preparing and then the aftermath,
right.
So,
Right. And so it takes a lot of time, and that's just the meetings. And, then when you spend a whole week at the fair, 12-hour days, me, Marty, and
wow.
Danessa Danessa, I guarantee you, she was probably pulling more than 12-hour days. She was there in the morning when I got there, she was opening up at 9, and she was usually there until about 10.
That's
Incredible woman.
crazy.
Oh, let me tell
Yeah.
you something cool about Danessa. I like civil disobedience, but Danessa had this blow up dancing Trump, the big,
Yeah, I saw a big like
yeah,
wavy. Yeah.
yeah. So we have the big balloon, and it's huge, and you're gonna love this. We asked the Republicans if they wanted this, and they told us that they didn't want the Trump because they didn't want to offend anyone who didn't vote for Trump. Now, this is the Republican Party. 60% of the county went for Coos. Coos County went for Trump, and he's the president, but they didn't want to upset anyone. So Janessa, because we're trying to be neutral with our booth, because we are a petition pack and we want everyone to sign, so don't want to alienate anyone. We didn't have any Republican, Democrat, nothing from either side. But Danessa wanted to put that up so bad. There was a couple of booths down. There was an empty spot on the corner of the building. We wheeled it out, and I go, Danessa, are you sure you want to do this? I mean, we might get kicked out. And I was really leery of, no, do it, man. We're going to do it. I'm like, oh, Danessa, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm afraid, I think we're going to get in trouble. And I was being a real wuss, and I apologize, Danessa, because you got big brass balls, lady. Okay. So she set this up, and I'm all worried about it. And all the officials were walking by, looking at it. Then some of them started taking their selfie with it. I got Bob Maine to take a selfie with it. I got Marty to do a dance. I'll have that video for you. But it was really cool that lady has the audacity to just, and it was great. It turned out to be wonderful. And I'm so paranoid of things. I'm just worried, oh, we're going to get sued. Someone's going to destroy it or damage it. And then after it all happens, I think, wow, I don't know why it was such a big deal, but she is an incredible woman, a very incredible woman.
It's the entrepreneurial spirit. It's the like, just go ahead and do it and then figure it out later, sort of spirit. And she has pushed me. I've always been entrepreneurial, but she's even more so than I am. She's awesome. And anytime I'll hit a brick wall on something, or I'm like trying to decide, trying to figure out, she's like, just do it, just go. She's always trying to find the path and solve it quickest. And I like that. So no, I run into people who like have a bad opinion about Danessa, or they don't really know her. I myself didn't know much about her, and it's like, I would encourage people to just spend some time with her and really get to know her, because the people who have formed those opinions are forming them based off of maybe a couple small interactions, or just complete assumptions based off of what they've heard from other people, and it's crap.
During
She's
COVID,
incredible.
We were all very, very emotional. Maybe not me. I was just angry, if that's an emotion, but that's just my regular emotion. But Danessa, she would get up and she would get teary eyed, and she would start crying and weeping. And unfortunately, in politics, perspective is everything. And they really were judging her by that, and not thinking she was strong, not thinking she was rational, that she was an emotional, weak woman who just gets up and cries every time she speaks. And there was reason for it. I mean, she feels deeply about this stuff. That's why she's dedicated to it. And
she's heartbroken. I mean, like, I was heartbroken during COVID. I mean, geez, people, if there's anybody out there who was like pushing this mandate crap on other people, you broke our country's heart.
Yeah.
You killed us. You spat in the face of everything it means to be American, and you seem to like revel in it. You seem to love it and enjoy it. And it was like for us on the other side looking around was just like, what is happening to our world? And do they not understand the consequences? We were told, right, 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then a month,
Right.
then a couple months, then a year. Oh, the vaccine will solve it. It's a vaccine. It's not a treatment. It's a vaccine. It's like it never ended. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't want to get into COVID stuff.
No,
Crazy. But yes.
I don't either. But to the point though, Janessa is an incredible woman, and if you don't know her or you've only seen her when she was at one of those moments where she was weakened or emotional. I wouldn't even say weak. It's not weak to be emotional because it's strong.
Passionate.
People are like that. There's passion in it, right? And in fact, she's a very strong woman. And I would encourage you to go sit down and talk with Janessa and find out what she's done. She is someone who used to make multi-million-dollar deals in business. You know what I mean? She was on a level that people probably couldn't even fathom. Who don't realize how much she used to do in the business world, and she was incredible. She is still incredible, and boy, I love the balls on her, man, to go out there and put that Trump thing up, man. That is a good job, Danessa. Don't listen to me. I was a coward. I'm trying to talk her. No, you don't want to do that. Yes, let's do it.
We'll get in so much trouble. No.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to carpool with her to Portland and to Bend. That's a lot of time in a car with somebody, and we talked the whole time. It was her mostly talking. I could say that because we're friends, but it was very good, stuff. So Angela had a comment in there, and I did not hear from Richard, but I will call him. I've been meaning to call him. I'll call him after the show and talk to him. I can't imagine it was a good conversation.
Right before he went to the booth, I think it was right beforehand. I don't think I caught him afterwards, but I caught him, and he'll be at the next meeting, by the way. He plans on going at the next meeting. I hope, Angela, if you're still tuned in, I hope you go.
The problem is their Hauser Citizen Patrol that they do is the same night.
Thursday. Yeah.
Same night, same time.
So he said he's going to work on that. He said he may work on something and that was the problem with Gail and Doug, who are now who they're going to resign from their neighborhood watch group that meets on the same Thursday as the Republicans, and they're going to be showing up. And I talked to 3 couples, 6 different people who I haven't seen since they used to attend the Republican meetings back in the early teens, 20 teens, and all of them have been paying attention. All of them have said they're upset with what's going on, and they will be at the next meeting. That's just 3 couples, 6 people, and I talked to about a dozen more people who have promised they are going to show up because they see what's going on. And Rod and Nicole Taylor, Rod Taylor, the commissioner, said they will be at the next meeting because they used to be PCPs. They didn't know that you had to run for PCP every 2 years. They thought it was just automatically renewed or something. And
especially if there's vacancies, you'd think that it just carries over.
Yeah, you think it would just, I know. And so they went ahead and they are going to go to the next meeting, and they have already, I don't know if he has told Michael or Rod Schilling, but he wants to be a PCP, and he wants everyone else who wants to be a PCP to be appointed at the next meeting.
And for people, if they're wondering what the heck PCP is, it's just like a basic form of membership in the Republican Party. It's like a voting membership position. It's actually on the ballot. It's controlled by like the state and the clerk's office and all that. So it is, if there was a lot of people trying for these positions, it would actually be a real election, and you'd have to like campaign. But there are 198 spots available in all of Coos County, and we've only filled 48. So right now, anybody who wants to sign up should be able to sign up.
No problem.
And that's how it works all across the state. but yeah, PCPs, there is more to it if you really want to get involved. There's, lots of stuff you can do, but at a base level, like you just essentially have a vote at the meetings, and it gives you a little more of a say than just kind of complaining on Facebook. But yeah, it's like essentially 3 out of every 4 seats for this PCP position are vacant. And if you have a vacancy, I don't understand. This is the crux of the problem is Michael, the chair, has denied anyone and everyone the ability to become a member. And the state has directed all of the counties. I mean, it's a given thing. Like, you're already supposed to be out there trying to get as many members as possible, signing
And
up to vote.
and the way we did it was everyone in the party, there was 2 things as a member you were responsible for. Trying to get new members, number 1,
Right.
and number 2, trying to get donations to build the party fund. Those were the 2 things that we were working on, all to get someone elected, because that's the main goal of the party, to get good candidates elected.
Yeah, I don't like the money thing as much, but and I think, like, if you build it, it will come, sort of thing. Like, if you get people involved, that's where you start finding and nurturing your leaders. That's who you present on the ballot, and you'll have a large group of people who want to support them, whether it's by going door knocking or supporting them financially, or services and kind donations like I do with a website or graphics. You'll have all of that. You'll have it, but you need to start with people, right? The current party is trying, under Michael Brainard, is trying to start at the top and just ask for money. Like, there's a donate button on the website, and they're just trying to, I guess, assume that people will get elected. Like there's no foundation. There's nothing underneath. And anyway, so that's why people, it's a big component as to why people didn't get elected last election, and that's why there's no money. But yeah, we need to get more people in there. The state has directed us to do so. They've literally put out a campaign that they want 50 new PCPs statewide. I think we can do that right here in Coos County.
I'm willing to bet we could do that right here. And in fact, when you told me that, I think we should make it our goal to get 50
100%.
right here in Coos County and say, there you go. Put that in your pipe statewide and smoke it. And
let's do it for the next meeting. Bring 50
Yeah.
forms. I think we're up to 20 now.
Yeah.
And the thing is I'm not a PCP. I was voted vice chair. There's like a kind of a loophole in the bylaws that if a voting member nominates a registered Republican, it doesn't matter if they're a voting member or not, they can run for that position. So I did. But I'm still not a voting member, I'm not a PCP. And I asked, like, my first meeting, can I be a PCP then? And they said no. I'm like, what? Doesn't make any sense. So they're not even allowing me, the vice chair, to be a voting member. I mean, it's a total blockade because they think it's their party. And logistically, it is. They have won their little elections of like 20 people, so they found 20 people to elect them, and they think that that's amazing and that they are like destined to own the party. And it's not anybody's party. It's, first of all, it's not even everyone's party. It's a platform.
Right.
And you come up with a platform, and that is the mission, is those core values. And if people want to support those core values and support people who want to get elected running off of that platform, that's what the party is.
Right.
And they're disconnected from both. They're not trying to get people who support that platform, nor do they fully support that platform themselves.
Right.
Nor are they finding people to run for office that, like, they're supporting people like David Brock Smith, who does not support the full Republican Party platform. Look at his voting record. So before we go any further, I want to address Angela's comment. She says, yes, I'll make sure he'll be there, but I'm the president now of the Hauser Citizens Patrol, so need to be at that meeting. And yes, Angela, Citizen Patrol, Neighborhood Watch is very important. And I'm glad that, once again, you guys are volunteering and putting in the time, not at the Republican Party, but doing other stuff. So we appreciate that. Phil And
Taylor.
that's not just Neighborhood Watch. That's like a full-blown Citizen Patrol, full organization. Yes. They have bylaws. They have a structure. Right. They have funds. Like, they're a legit thing.
Totally.
So congratulations, legit. Angela.
Not like me and my guys. We'll go out in the middle of the night. We're neighborhood watch. Why are you dressed like Antifa? I don't know. Leave me alone. But Phil Taylor says, I definitely want the minutes for the July meeting. Those should be hilarious. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
We barely got past approving the minutes from the last meeting before they adjourned.
So
It was
before
like Pledge of Allegiance, approve the minutes, and then we tried to amend the agenda, and then they called it. Sorry, I derailed you again. You're trying to make a
No,
point.
that's perfectly fine. But I want you to go back to the May meeting before we go any further and explain to people, talk about the May meeting, talk about the cancellation in June, and then let's start off with what happened at the last meeting.
Okay.
Just a quick recap, summarize it.
I'll go even further back really quick. You
Okay.
know, I was elected in November and people wanted change. That's why I was elected. It's why I and you and other people even showed up. We were advocating for major change. And change is hard. But when I showed up at like the first work session in January, I had already had hours and hours and hours of meetings privately with Michael, the chair, to try and work out how we could work together. He loves the state and federal stuff. I love the local stuff. I don't care about the state and federal stuff as much. He doesn't care about the local stuff. You know what I mean? So it seemed like it was going to be a good match. I'm good with social media, websites, events, and outreach, the social stuff, the techie stuff. He's not as great with that, but he's great with the like politicians and the networking, those sorts of things. I'm not great with that. So it seemed like a good fit. Actually, we're both young. We're both in our 30s. Everything was set. Then right off the bat in January, he loved his website. He thought he did a great job. You guys can judge for yourself. It's coos.gop. It's lacking, in my opinion, on many fronts. And that was a big disagreement. It was brought up at that meeting that I should do the website. People wanted that. He didn't. Big conflict. I wanted to do new events like they haven't done before. I wanted a movie night to show like conservative documentaries. I think it could raise a bunch of money, bring a bunch of crowds together, to do like little coffee hours, happy hours, things like that. They just wanted to do fair booths like they've always done. I wanted to have like a PCP coordinator, but like on a bigger scale, just like a whole funnel, bring people in and then funnel them. Like, what are your talents? Okay. Oh, maybe you could be on like the leadership track because I think you have talents that we could use at a city council level or a school board level, right? Like they just wanted to have a PCP coordinator like they've always had to sign people up to be a PCP. And then that's it. Just leave them there. Like, okay, you're a PCP, good luck. And or maybe come join us at the fair booth, but there's no real like plan. Anyways, that was all proposed to them, those sorts of changes, and they didn't want any of that. They wanted to do things like they've always done, and it was just a huge freaking battle. So anyways, that brewed for months and months and months and months and months because we never let it go. We kept bringing it up. Like these things make sense. It makes sense to update the website. It makes sense to try and find candidates, do candidate recruitment. It makes sense to have candidate forums. It makes sense to, anyways, things made sense. And those things that made sense were not accomplished. They were not even pursued. We weren't even allowed to discuss them. We had asked for them to be on the agenda. We were told, no, we don't set the agenda. Michael sets the agenda. Anyway, so coming up in May, the May meeting was after the election. So there was a lot of passion around that. We got completely creamed by the Democrats. They outpaced us on every front. And so there was a lot of anger around that. Michael refused to accept any responsibility for that or as a party for that. So people were upset about that. And we tried to nominate PCPs. We had, I think, 8 people at the meeting that wanted to be PCPs and sign up. And it's always been a thing. If you show up and you want to be a PCP and there's a vacancy, there you go. You're nominated.
20 years that I've been going there. That's how we've always have done it. And all you have ever had to do was give this form, the SEL 105. And it even says here in Article 2, Paragraph A, it says the Coos County Republican Central Committee shall consist of all elected and appointed precinct committee men and committee women. The eligibility of Republicans for appointment to PCP positions by a vote of the Central Committee and the county executive committee shall have no additional rules or requirement other than those imposed on filing Form SEL for the committee person.
That's
it.
state law.
Yeah.
That's state law. And then if I shared on my screen, I don't know if you can pull that up. So then these are the Oregon Republican Party bylaws. If you search them on Google and then scroll down to the County Central Committee, and find where it talks about PCPs. Here we go. Precinct Committee Persons. The eligibility of Republicans for appointment, because there's election every other spring, and then if there's vacancies, then you can get appointed. So we're talking about appointments here. The eligibility of Republicans for appointment to PCP positions by a vote of the County Central Committee or Executive Committee shall have no additional rules or requirement other than those imposed on filing Form SEL 105. None. No other rules or requirements. Michael wants to have a special form.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I've seen his special form. His special form has all the same fields as the one you just showed up. There's not, it's like name, phone number, address. There's nothing special, which there isn't allowed to be. But then also, why do you need your own form? Then he wants you to hand deliver it to him. You have to give it to Michael. You cannot give it to anybody else. It has to go through Michael. And then he will put you on the agenda to maybe get appointed. And it's like, that's not up to him. Nowhere does it specify that is like your superpower, Michael. It's wild. I mean, it's state law, it's county bylaws, it's state bylaws. I don't know if people care about this stuff, but it's just insane to know these facts and then to show up at a meeting and I send an email out ahead of time saying, hey, can this be on the agenda? He doesn't respond at all. I send it to the whole committee. No one responds.
Didn't at the May meeting, I remember at one point, didn't he say at the May meeting, we're going to take your committee people at the next meeting? And of course he canceled the June meeting. And of course July, I'm thinking even Michael isn't stupid enough to block our PCPs from becoming precinct committee. And I shouldn't say ours. They're just people who want to be members. A lot of
people came to us and they said, hey, how do we get,
yeah.
They said, how do we help? How do we get involved? We want to be a part of this organization, this movement. We're conservative. We support the platform. How do we help? So that's it. I mean, it's that simple. Why would you not want people like that? But yeah, they all said at the last meeting in May, the one back in May, that was their biggest argument to stop us. It was, why can't you just do this next meeting? They thought we were derailing the conversation or something, or derailing the meeting. Okay. They said, why can't we just do this next one? And I said, because you'll never get to it. You'll push it down this is your tactic. And then they canceled the June meeting. Then we have the July meeting. Again, I emailed like 2 days after the May meeting and asked to have this on the agenda. Not only did I want our 8 people who filled out forms, I wanted that on the agenda, but I asked specifically for an agenda item at the very end of the agenda, at the end of the night. Why can't we just ask anybody in the room, hey, is there anybody here who wants to join our party and be a member and be a part of this? Stand up, give us a little speech, and you'll probably get nominated. Why is that an insane idea? And
that's exactly how we used to do it at the end of the meeting, because you would want these committee people at the end of the meeting so they're not voting on stuff that's currently on the agenda. That's how we usually did it. And that way
it wouldn't be confusing.
Yeah, it would be confusing. So at the end of the meeting, and this is how Jason Payne would conduct it, he would say, is anyone here who would like to be a PCP? Stand up and introduce yourself. And we didn't even ask them to say much. And usually they did anyway. And always, I don't ever remember anyone being rejected because, and you shouldn't vet people who are coming to you as registered Republicans to join.
You're not
your
allowed
group.
to.
You're not allowed to. And in fact, we're doing it the opposite. They want us to vet the PCPs when we should be vetting the candidates. They don't want us to vet the candidates. They want us to, that's the inverse of what we should be doing, and proves that it's a captive party. But he would ask, Jason Payne, the chair, would ask, and by the way, he was 28 at the time. He was a very young man and much younger than Michael Brainard. And he would have been able to handle that crowd way better than what Michael did. But he would ask people at the end of the meeting, does anyone want to be a PCP? We'd get that done with. Now let's take a vote. Take a vote to close the meeting, because that's proper procedure. And we haven't done that at the last 2 meetings.
Yep. Past 2 meetings, he just adjourns the meeting without a vote. And I've told him at that moment, I've emailed him about it. And I had the state parliamentarian explain it. That is not how you adjourn a meeting. You have to have a majority vote to adjourn the meeting. He's a power hungry freak. I mean, like, people who are maybe coming to this out of context are like, you're the vice chair of the Republican Party. You're being disrespectful. You're being rude. Like, you're kind of out of line. I mean, I go to the state party and they tell me that, like, you need to respect that he's your chair. No. People, this is far past that. This is not a person who cares about Coos County. This is not a person who cares about the conservative movement. He only cares about himself. And I will give people like that no respect, no quarter, nothing. They get nothing from me because they're giving nothing to you or us. It's all for them. I mean, it's a social club for Mike and his friends.
It is literally
the most
now
bizarre
a
thing I've
social
ever
club.
seen.
It's very bizarre. And we'll get into what happened at this meeting, because it was so funny. By the end of it, Michael was just shaking. He was trembling, and his mom had to hug him. I don't know if you saw that, where mom had to give him big hugs and I'm thinking, you're
goodness.
a 40-year-old man, the chair of the party. You're shaking like a little girl, and your mama has to come and hug you. And this is who we have chosen as the chair. Wow.
That's wild.
Brandy says, has anyone heard from DBS since the meeting? No. In fact, I'm blown away how that man was able to sit there at the meeting, choking down his chicken, smiling and laughing and not having a concern in the world, because he caused all that. He is the direct cause for everything that was going on in that room.
He was politely asked to not, I mean, he should have known not to come, but he was politely asked once he walked in the door that this was not really appropriate. You're not a friend of the party. I explained to him why you endorsed Democrats against our Republican candidates who are sitting in the room, who are on the executive board of this organization you want to attend a meeting to. I mean, it's bizarre that he would even think that that's a welcoming place. But you know what? I'm only one person. There are other people in the room that do want him there, that do like him. So given that, I guess that's why he stayed. But I just, like, Rob, if you had a party and, like, your wife hated me, like, really, like, did not want to see me, did not want me at your house, and you're like, oh, come over, we're having a barbecue. Like, yeah, I know my wife hates you and half my friends hate you, but it'll be fine. And I might have your back if a fight breaks out. And then I show up and, like, a fight breaks out, and then you don't have my back. Like that's what happened. I just don't understand why would you want to be a part of that? Why would you? Because these people, again, they're not in it for you or for the movement. They're in it for themselves, and we need to weed those people out. They're weeds. They come into your garden. They're like thistle,
Yep.
And like, for some weird ass reason, some people are like, oh my gosh, thistles have such beautiful purple flowers at the top. It's like, great, but everything else sucks. They're prickly.
They're prickly.
And they take over.
In fact, if you look at the
Uh,
head behind this David Brock Smith picture, that's me in the background there.
oh
But
no,
look,
how is there a chicken?
oh yeah, well, he was choking down chicken, and someone put that in the picture. It was so funny that here's the
I didn't just see
actual
that till now.
picture, and then
Okay.
here's what should have been in play. Yeah,
Oh
that's
my goodness. Like if you're anyone in politics and you endorse, or if you're anybody, I mean, we ran a slate as a party, like 2 out of 3 in that slate were executive board members of this body. And you endorsed our Democrat opponents. You said we have no integrity. Why would you come to our meeting? I just, I don't understand that. Why, what purpose would that solve? Um, but he doesn't think like that. He demands allegiance. So
right,
that's why he's there, because he doesn't understand why I would not be allegiant to him. He
right.
doesn't understand that. So
Um,
whatever. It's
you,
wild.
I had already set the tone before the meeting on that Thursday, and it was all because of Court Boyce. And I've known Court Boyce a long time, and I've never been face to face to confront him about his part in
Mm,
getting me canceled on the radio. I've never confronted him face to face to that because I've never had the chance. They have no balls. And so he was on the radio show. He was on Scam Perry. Cam Perry is his name, but it's really Scam Perry. And
okay.
he does the outdoor show, and they were on the radio, the same station I used to be on, KWRO. And in fact, Cam Perry, the reason he's back on the radio was that was the replacement for me because they were going to get a
Mm,
local political person. But Cam, he's got every politician's cock down his throat, so it's not someone who you'd want to have on the radio and
allegedly.
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 And
Yeah.
so David Brock Smith showed up after Court was there, and I went over there and I took pictures of him. I stood right there in front of their booth and I took pictures of them while they were on the radio. And then I walked back over to my booth. And after the show, Court Boyce comes up to me, and there's a lady next to me who's in the other booth. I was by myself, and there was a sheriff's deputy right outside the booth because we were right by the door of the building where all the merchants were. And he comes up to the booth and goes, "Hey, Rob, I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you, buddy?" And he puts out his hand. And I go, "I don't want to shake your freaking hand. You're a piece of shit." What do you mean? What are you talking about? And I go, "You know what I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't know. You were part of the people who got me canceled. I had nothing to do with it." I said, "Bullshit. I know you had something to do with it. I saw the email that Mike Wilson had to produce. It was the email you sent me on Thanksgiving. You and Virgil Osborne sent me that nasty email. And you also CC'd that to David Brock Smith. Well, David Brock Smith took that email where you and Osborne are complaining about me. And then he complains about me and sends that off to Mike Wilson. And Mike Wilson sees your name on that email thinking you also are mad at me, thinking you want me kicked off the radio." And he goes, "Well, yeah, but you did something wrong." And I go, "I didn't do a fucking thing wrong. Excuse my language."
Whatever. You're allowed to. Do we have a First Amendment right anymore? I mean,
Do we
geez,
have a
they
First
are
Amendment right?
elected officials. They are
Right,
the government. You are allowed to petition the government for a redress of grievances. That is what your show is. That's what this
right.
is. I mean, it's like it. And if you say something that's like hurtful, like very hurtful, there's defamation lawsuits. Like you could, if you ever said something about David Brock Smith, why hasn't he sued you? I
Yeah.
mean, he
Why
claims all
hasn't he
this
sued
stuff
you?
is lies, lies, lies. Okay.
Mhm.
Where's the defamation lawsuit?
Haven't
It's
received one.
insane.
I'm still waiting for Marcy Jensen to get in touch with me. I'm still waiting for her lawyer to call me.
Yeah.
So I told him to F off, and he says, "Well, I'm going to be the bigger man, and I'm going to leave the door open. Call me anytime you." I'm not going to call you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to work my best to get you fired. I'm your boss. You work for the people, and we're
Right.
tired of slime ball Republicans like you. He walked off, came back 3 times, and I literally told him to F off all 3 times. And the lady sitting next to me, after he finally left, she goes, "He actually did that to you?" I go, oh yeah, he did that. Him and David Brock Smith. And like I said, there's a sheriff's deputy standing right next to it, just laughing his ass off. He thought it was the funniest thing he ever witnessed. And she goes, I voted for him. I'm never going to vote for him again. I can't believe he just admitted to getting you canceled. And I'm like, thank you. That's all I ever wanted to hear. At least admit what you did. They're not even willing to admit it. And then I got him to him about the wind turbine thing. And he says, well, I was never for them. I said, yeah, but you weren't against them. Remember, we even asked you on the show. I got a recording. And of course, well, Rob, you have to understand, I have to be diplomatic and statesman. Yeah, you have to walk the fence because you're a skeezy politician. I get it. But that was what set the tone for the meeting. And so I'm sure, because as you know, Michael Brainard asked me to leave after he had denied us to have our PCPs even put on the agenda. We were just asking for it to be put on the agenda. Then the committee could have voted on it, but we didn't even get that far. And at that point, when I'm getting cornholed by a retard, the expletives are going to start to fly. And then he has the nerve to tell me I need to leave. And I told Michael, make me. You want me to leave? Make me. And then Court Boyce tells me to leave. And I gave him, Court, anytime you want to get up and make me leave, please do. And I love the look on his face. It was like he had no response. It was like I was waiting for some comeback, because I was more than happy if he wanted to step outside to make my day. I was waiting for that. That's how far I was
crazy.
waiting. Yeah, and it's stupid because this is a Republican meeting, but I'm not going to take
well,
credit
and
from these people.
he represents people in our county.
Yes,
but he's not from our county, so he's not part of our Coos County Republican Party. He's somebody who we could choose to support as a Coos County party, but you are not part of our party, Court. Neither are you, David. Like, you're not. So I don't understand why you think you are. Like, I think you misunderstand the structure of it. Actually, no. This is how they run things. They run it from the top down, right?
Yeah.
They do think that they run our local party because they have overlapping voting districts, but that's not how it's supposed to be. We, the people of Coos County, are supposed to determine our platform, our candidates, everything, and then that's who we support. And if it just so happens to be Court and David, then it does. And yeah, Court was these people need to grow up and learn how to check their personal stuff at the door. And Court, I had never met him before. He wanted to talk to me afterwards. I was trying to talk to him, and he kept bringing you up. And it's like, look, that's between you and Rob. That has no business at this meeting. Now, it's fine for, again, you to bring it up, Rob, because this man has come to, you are a Coos County Republican. This person has come into your organization, right, into your county. And again, like, if you're a registered Republican, this is your organization. Just because you're not a voting member, just because you've never been to a meeting, doesn't mean it's not your organization. It represents you. If you are a registered Republican in Coos County, this is your organization. Court and David are not registered Republicans in Coos County, as far as I know, right? Like, they're from Port Orford. So if they're coming into your meeting causing problems or causing you like rage because they're canceled, you are the conservative voice in Coos County. You were, you have been, you are. That's a fact. No one denies that. And they're trying to shut you down. Come on, people. Anyway, so you're totally in the right. They're absolutely out of their minds, trying to tell you to leave. Michael you got mad. That happens. People get mad. A leader would have looked at that and been like, Rob, they probably, I would have picked me if I was Michael. I'd been like, Rob, Chris, can the three of us go outside and figure this out? Chris, can you be like a mediator? Both of us, we're going to take a 5-minute recess and we'll be back. That's how you do it. But this person, Michael, the chair, does not have the social temperament or the leadership skills to do that. And that's if it just blew up and it was random. This all could have been avoided years ago, months ago, weeks ago. Conflict resolution isn't about having conflict and resolving it. It's also about avoiding conflict, anticipating conflict. People need to read books. I
Yeah.
mean, like self-help books. I don't know.
And you've
I'm
seen
blabbering.
me. I have been in many a meetings where I completely disagreed with the entire city council or the county commissioners. I've got up, spoken my
Oh yeah.
piece, not use a cuss word. I have never been kicked out of a public meeting. And well, until now,
I
I
can't
guess
say that.
I know, but I never have been. And the reason I got so angry is because these used to be my friends. All of those people in there used to be my friends, really good friends. We worked really hard. Joe Teal, the only one there that I can think of that's been in the Republican Party longer than I have is Faye Albertson, who I believe is 94 years old. And I invited her to the meeting, even though she had voted against everything we wanted to do. But
Was
Faye
she the lady
Albertson,
who was running around going like shame, shame, shame and
no,
cackling?
that lady's a
Okay.
drunk fool. I don't know. Lady, put down the
That was
wine.
crazy.
She
Yeah.
was nuts. That was just weird. That was to the point where
That
I'm
was
in
something out of like a horror movie, like when they
Yeah,
go
it
into like the
was.
netherworld and it's like dark and scary and there's just creepy laughing ladies drinking wine. Like
Yeah, it was like something
it's
from
like,
Sweet Baby Jane, with what's her name, Anne Bancroft and Betty Davis. Yeah, it was like something weird. It was like, I didn't put down the wine, but I thought I had a right to lose it at that point because we were being stonewalled in a way that is totally unreasonable. When we took over the party back in 2010 or 2012, when Americans for Prosperity went in there with 16 PCPs and they had 14, nobody had a problem with us taking over the party. They knew and understood that's how you run the party. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose the vote. I've been on plenty of losing ends, but I have never seen anyone make up their own rules and their own procedures on an agenda and then deny anyone a voice or a vote on what they were doing. That
we were
is
simply
crazy.
Danessa motioned to add to the agenda that we nominate PCPs. He said it was out of order. We were literally amending the agenda at the time. So that's not a thing. But anyway, so then I rephrased it and tried to be even more simple. I just asked, could we discuss it? Could we put a discussion item on the agenda to discuss nominating PCPs? And that was denied. And that was when you blew up. So anyways, the thing is they're terrified that if we get more voting members that we will vote them out of office, that they will get recalled and that a new group of people will take over the party. And here's the thing. If we're going around the county, I've run 2 elections now in the past like year and a half. County-wide elections. Actually the Southwestern Oregon Community College was 3 counties. So I've talked to lots of people in a lot of different neighborhoods from all different necks of the woods and, business owners, homesteaders, family people, single people trying to work a job, young people, old people, right? All over Douglas County, Curry County, Coos County. So I know some neighbors. I know some
You know a few
precinct people.
You
I know
talk to a
people.
few people, right?
Right. And those people I talk to want to get involved. So there's nothing like nefarious here. There's nothing like evil. It's just simply everyone I'm talking to, 100% of the people I'm talking to, they want to see the Republican Party do something. They want them to be relevant. And they have ideas and they have passion and they have energy and they want to bring that to the table and they want to work together to make this happen. And the only thing that's in conflict is that Michael just does not want that. He does. So that's why he doesn't want these people. So these people, because some of them are watching this show, just so you
Mhm.
know, that's what makes you so evil.
Right.
God damn you
Yeah.
people who want to make a
Right.
difference, who want to get involved, who want to make your neighborhoods better, who want them safe, who want better opportunities for your children, better opportunities for your business, who want to prosper, who want to have conservative values instilled in their community. How dare you? How dare you do that to our community? I
And you
mean,
know what
doesn't
ticks
that
me off?
sound exactly like the thinking of a liberal? I mean,
Doesn't
it
it?
kind of makes you wonder, like Michael Brainard, because I'm sure you're watching, you have nothing else to do. Are
Mhm.
you a liberal? I mean, because you are the best present, you could give them liberals.
Right.
I mean, I put the chart, I sent it, I shared my screen with you. I started analyzing the finances because I'm like, where are we? What, it's July. Where are we with the finances here, right? Look at this graph. Coos County Republicans, year to date, so starting in January, we have raised $1,300, just over $1,000. That's the green bar. The red bar is how much we've spent. We've spent almost $5,000. So
Oh,
first of
wow.
all, if you ran a business like this, how long do you think you'd be in business?
Wow.
Do you think this is sustainable? I don't. I
And
think
I'll
we
tell you,
started the year.
anyone who talks to Michael for 5 minutes is not going to give money to that party. I'm sorry. And this is, once again, I'm talking as a supervisorial position. I have been someone who has hired and fired hundreds of people. And I myself have put people in positions where I thought they could do the job. They couldn't do the job. I fired them. That's the way it goes. Michael should never have been put in that position. I never would have put him in that position. And part of this is the fault of the people who put him there. And on top of it, he's just being evil. So I'm
I mean,
sorry.
if you were Burger King and you hired him to be your manager and you looked at
Mhm.
the, year to date report in July and it looked like this,
Right.
he'd be gone. Or there'd be
Yep.
big changes. But one of the two. You wouldn't keep him in the same state. You don't want another 6 months of this. Because we started the year with $10,000 and we're quickly approaching zero. I mean, that's almost no money in and lots of money out. And the result of that is, I mean, it's eventually going to be bankruptcy, but the result of it, obviously, with the past election, is that we were really ineffective. But then here's the really thing that's going to blow people's mind. Are you people ready for this? This is the comparison of the Republicans to the Democrats. So that graph on the left that was showing just the Republicans, now compare that to how much the Democrats have raised. The Democrats year to date have raised $42,000. And they've spent a lot of it. They spent $38,000. But I mean, if this was a business, they're profitable.
They're in the green.
They are in the green. They are making money and they're spending it, and it shows. They kicked our asses in the election. And they did it through social media ads. They had videos, they had commercials that they made for all their candidates. And on top of this, there's a political action committee called South Coast Forward, who I think put in another $15,000 roughly into that election. So they double, they did really well. They've activated their base, they've organized, they're having events, they have book clubs, happy hours, they have lots of events and lots of money coming in. Look at that puny little Republican
look at
Party
that.
graph.
And
What
and
the
they
fuck?
even got they got a representative, Court Boyce, and a senator to endorse their Democrat candidates on top of all of this success they're having. Hell, man, I want to be a Democrat now. Shit.
Like people, please, like, screenshot this. If you know anybody who is an elected member of the Republican Party, locally or statewide, and show them this. Help. Coos County is getting destroyed by Michael Brainard. It's a fact. Look at
Right.
these graphs and try and come to any other conclusion. I mean, this is insanity to continue down this path. So please, anyone involved, I'm one person. Rob, you're a part of the organization, but you're not a voting member.
Right.
I'm a quasi-voting member. I can vote in certain circumstances. But we only know so many voting members, and until things change, this is what we're going to continue to get. And if you transpose this like another year, we've got the spring primaries, we've got the following fall, there's an election. I mean, we've got two commissioner seats, the clerk, the sheriff. I mean, this is why people, some people tell me, why don't you just wait? Why don't you wait till next spring when you can all run for these PCP positions? And then the following fall, you can elect a new executive board. Well, you know why? Because I care enough about this community and I know too much. Look at these numbers. I know enough that we're going down a dark, dark path. And there's a structure for this, and it's called the Republican Party. There's a structure and an antidote to this, and we can fix it. Now we can do certain things. Like, I don't, people have probably noticed. I helped with a few other people. We've created like a new website, a social media page. We're calling it Coos County Conservatives. Is that going to be a new political party? Probably not. Is that going to be a political action committee? Maybe. I'd like to just kind of show people what it would look like
Right.
if we were allowed to do things on social media. Like, we're not allowed to post things on social media. No one else. It's just Michael. You know, we're not allowed to run events. It's just Michael. We're not allowed to hold meetings. It's just Michael. We can't change the agenda. That's just Michael. So what would we do if we didn't have that person in our way? So we're doing it. And that's what people will see with this new thing we're putting out there. We're going to have events coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're going to have stuff on social media. Anyway, so that's the idea. And if people want to get involved, that'd be great, because this is where we're headed. But really, that should all be merged. We should all be working under one umbrella, a
Yes.
conservative umbrella, and it's called the Republican Party. And we should stay away from the state and federal stuff. I think focus locally. We should have our own
Totally.
platform. You know, there are structures in place for state and federal election and politics sort of stuff. There's nothing for Coos County conservatives. There's nothing. There's no support. If you're a conservative running for school board or city council, you're on your own. You have been on your own for years.
Right.
I don't know when it was good. You can tell me, Rob, I guess.
It was
When was
never
it good?
good.
When did
It was
Okay, that's
never
not good.
It has never been good. Under Jason Payne, we had a little bit. Rod, when he first started, was actually a little bit better, but he had someone who was a driving force behind him. See, Rod takes credit for when the party had 180 precinct committee people. We had that at one time, and Rod takes credit for it, but the person who deserves credit is no longer here. Her name is Terry Greer. She ran for District 4, Peter DeFazio's seat, and she was incredible at organizing. She built that party for Rod Schilling, and when she left him a huge party with lots of money, with people willing to work, willing to donate. And for some reason, it is whittled back down to 48 out of, what is it, 198? 198 PCPs.
Yep.
We've got 48. We had 180 at one time. I helped
Wow.
Terry get that. And that's why when they're telling me, once again, and I go back to, I've been in that party, the only one longer that's been there is Faye Albertson. I've been in that party a long time. And this is how we have gotten our PCPs. This is how we got 180 back 2016, maybe a little bit earlier than that. That's how we did it, because we had people who were active in the party and we were doing things. We had Americans for Prosperity. We had Campaign for Liberty. We had several other organizations. And in fact, there was a position on the Central Committee called the Party Liaison. I was the party liaison because I was in all of those groups I just mentioned. I was probably one of the most activist. I went to the government meetings just like you did. And I would come to the party and I would give a report on what people are doing outside. And those people on the outside who wanted to be part of the party, I'd bring them in and we would work on parallel campaigns where we were working together. Then when I got my radio show, that was part of the deal. I was going to become a non-affiliated voter so I can be a non-partial media person, and I was going to promote the hell out of the Republican candidates, the Republican conservative agenda. That's what I did. We lost that. The party's gone into disarray, and I blame one man and one man only, David Brock Smith. And those who are who have aligned themselves with him, you are evil. You're working for an evil man. And, you know, at one point I was willing to give Michael a pass because, like I said, I think he's gullible. He's naive. And I think a lot of people got him into this position. But at this point, after what I saw at this last party, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing is wrong. And that's why he was trembling the whole time he was. Did you notice that, how much he was trembling?
I went into that meeting knowing that if we don't have a majority, we can't really do anything. That's the fact of the matter is if he has a majority, then he wins. And that's the game they're playing, which is sad because it's not about that. It's about the greater good of everybody. And they don't want that. I mean, we got into a shouting match in the May meeting, me and Rod Schilling, about it, because I just kept saying, like, what in the world have I done that is so bad? What in the world have I proposed for this organization to do that is so wrong? You know, like I proposed having a movie night, updating the website, having a candidate funnel, like a leadership, like a scouting process where we try and go find candidates and bring them through a funnel and a process to get them elected. Like,
And you were recommending this back in November and December of last year, and you're
yes,
like, "Oh no, we're going on vacation. Oh, special district
right.
elections, we don't pay attention."
I was told that it is an off year and that they do not really do anything for the district elections, the school board elections, that it's not really that big of a deal. And so they treated it like that. And you can look at the result. We lost everything. We lost everything. There's really no other way to put it. And
Except for Phil Taylor. Phil Taylor was the only contested Republican who won.
Yep.
And he couldn't even get appointed at that meeting. In fact, we had a guy from the transit board. We had Ivan Hawker, who's on the Myrtle Point City Council. We had Amanda Hawker, who is on, I believe, the Myrtle Point School District. All three of them are elected officials, and they couldn't even become precinct committee people at the Republican Party. What is wrong with this, folks?
Yep. And there's Jeremy Miller, who's on the fire district. So
that's right.
I think that's 4 elected officials in the stack of papers we had. I mean, it's absolutely wild. I mean, here, if you don't want to get into the PCP stuff and the numbers and all that, just think of it like this. What could we do to help the next election as a party? Well, we can go out and recruit people to run for office, right? Like, that's what we like. We want to get people elected. We want to change the balance. We want it to be more conservative. So we find conservatives. We encourage them to run. We support them to run. So I did all this on my own. Me and Danessa and you and some other people, we did this all on our own. You did candidate interviews and aired them. I did candidate interviews and aired them. I encouraged over and over and over for months for people to sign up. And then I helped people run. I gave them all the advice I could. I don't know much about politics, but I gave them advice on like social media and websites and things like that, help them out. Anyways, I did everything I could as an individual. But the party, what did the party offer these people? Nothing.
Nothing.
Phil, these I'm drawing a blank. Richard Coleman, who I ran with for SWAC. These people who ran for office, they were given no opportunity to speak at any of our meetings. They were never introduced. They were never promoted online. They were never promoted in any sort of mailer. The only mailer that went out was a North Bend mailer. It went out to the North Bend residences or people within the North Bend school district. But here's the thing. That was already going out. The North Bend school board candidates had already decided they were going to do that. They had already designed it. It was ready to go to print. They had already decided they were going to pay for it. As like a show of support, and so that they could spend their money on other things, like maybe like a commercial or something like that, or social media ads. I motioned at the meeting to pay for that mailer. And then by doing that, they decided, because the whole back of it was blank, they decided to add some names to the back of it and saying these people have conservative values. My name was on there, Danessa, Richard Coleman, and Phil Taylor. So they put 4 names on the back of that we voted at the meeting that would be okay to put on the back of that mailer. That is it. But again, that support only came because I made that motion and the committee that was present okayed it. That was it, that one moment. And it's like, out of the whole election, there was one forum in Bandon. I think you were there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
There was a forum in Bandon, but you saw the people in that room, right, between the candidates themselves and the people who were party members. I don't think there was maybe one person in the room who was like from the community. And
almost none of them were from Bandon. I think I was the only one from Bandon. And
exactly.
It was funny. That's when I got to meet Matthew, the guy who ran for the school district. And it was the cop I had yelled at just a few days later. And I wasn't yelling at him, but I was yelling because I caught a guy stealing a shopping cart. But yeah, it's funny that it's never happened. I've never seen this happen, and they've got to understand why we're so angry. And what I didn't tell you, and I haven't, I don't know if you knew this. Stan Avery caught me the next morning, and as I was walking to the booth, it was early in the morning, and he says, "Rob," he goes, was that all staged? Did you guys plan to do that?" And I go, "Plan to do what? What you guys did at the meeting, was that planned?" I go, "No, that was all live." I said, "I normally don't go off like that unless I'm triggered for some reason. You know what I mean? I normally can keep my composure, but when, like," and I go back to the retard cornholing me. I told him, I said, when Michael starts putting up procedural barriers that have never been there before, he has no right to do it. No committee has voted on this. And he's barring us from being able to participate in our party, a party that I've been a member of longer than most of those people have. Yeah, I'm going to be a little ticked off. And Stan goes, "You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's why me and Teresa left last night." And I said, "Oh, I thought you left because I was screaming and yelling and cussing." He says, No. We were upset with Michael Brainard because of what he was doing, and we left. And so that morning they started showing all the other people the bylaws. So Kathy, and I've known Kathy a couple of years. We really got into it at the meeting. Boy, I thought I was a cussing person. Boy, that lady, she's like a New Jersey trucker on the turnpike, man. Get out of the way. And so,
Hey, how do you know about the Jersey Turnpike?
yeah. So we were getting into it. I mean, me and her. And so the next morning, after Stan and Teresa showed her the actual procedure, she came up to me and she apologized. She said, "I'm so sorry. I thought you guys were just being a-holes and making, because I thought only at certain times were people allowed to be appointed PCPs." And then I explained to her, I said, "You probably don't know this, Kathy, but I was on the executive board." And I told the story that I just told here. And we hugged, made up, and she says that she's going to push Michael, or we're going to try to allow the PCPs. That's what she's going to vote for. If that's the procedure, that's what she wants to do. So I give Kathy, Teresa Avery, and Stan Avery, they all came up. They said that Michael was in the wrong, and they are going to try to rectify that, because this isn't how the party should be run. So I have to give them kudos on that. And
Stan and Teresa stood up right in front of me, and I read that from them that they were, they did not look impressed. And Teresa was, I guess, designated as the credentialer, because it was the treasurer election, even though there was only one person running, so that it's not an election, you just automatically get appointed.
Right.
Which hey, if there's a vacancy and there's only one person who wants that spot, apparently if it's treasurer, you can get that spot, and there's not even a vote that's needed, right? There was no vote. There was no vote
on that.
You automatically, it's in the bylaws, you automatically get that position. But if it's a PCP vacancy and there's somebody who wants that spot, you can't have it. Isn't that nuts? Treasurer,
That's
controlling the money, which we don't have much of. Okay.
Right.
PCP being one vote. No. Slow down. Whoa. Don't do that. That's crazy. But Teresa was tasked with giving green wristbands to all the voting members. And no one gave me a green wristband, because if it's an election, I'm not a voting member. If it's electing a someone on the executive board, I'm not a voting member. Only PCPs can vote for that. And because I'm not a PCP, I can't vote, but I can vote in other stuff. Like if we're voting, I motion to spend $1,000 on XYZ, I can vote for that, but I cannot vote for treasurer. So they made this big stink because, do you remember? They were so sassy about it. They looked so happy that when they all stood up with their green wristbands, Chris Castleman didn't have one. And when I said, "Yo, I'm allowed to vote here," because I'll explain in a second, I'm allowed to vote, they freaked out and they were like, "No, you're not." Remember all the screaming? That was the first screaming match that happened. They're all screaming at me, "Sit down, you're not allowed to vote." I mean, again, it was overwhelming. But here's the catch. I was saying before, if you remember, there was no treasurer election. We weren't voting on treasurer. We were voting on amending the agenda, and they were trying to tell me I couldn't vote. Yes, I can vote on that. I just can't vote on the treasurer, but I can vote on changing the agenda. You numbskulls. Okay. So, anyways,
And
you were
Teresa
wrong.
knew this. Go ahead. Yeah.
Teresa knew that. So she came over. She's like, look, I'm going to give you a green wristband. Just take it. Don't tell Michael. I'll take the blame for it. And I just said, no, like Michael's your chair. This is up to him. Go ask Michael about it. And he needs to take the responsibility for this. So I was denied a vote.
Thank you for doing that. That was that was great. I'm so glad you rejected that, because we're not going to play that game. We are demanding that he follow the rules. We're going to follow the rules. I thank you for doing that. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's just as simple as like, they denied me a vote that I rightfully had. Again, it was not about treasurer. We were just changing the agenda, people. You guys are nuts. Anyways, and then they denied again for the second meeting in a row, Carol and Elmer the ability to video conference in. Elmer is very sick. Carol's at home taking care of him. They are voting members of this body, and they are being denied a vote because Michael will not accommodate them over video conference, even though every school board, city council, the county commission, anybody can video conference into any of these government organizations and vote. Anyone, we do it as an executive board for this same organization. We vote over video conference, and we've even had votes over email. Yet, that's funny. Yet we can't vote for anyways. Anyway, but that's funny, Ivan. I just ordered 600 green bracelets online. Yeah, we got to find a way to win. Oh my gosh. I hope they're made in the USA, Ivan.
Yeah, I hope they're made in the USA there, Ivan. And Ivan Hawker he's the board member I was speaking of. And you got the distinction of being labeled as a boy. You're a boy. Hey, boy, don't you be speaking out of line, boy. We don't take kindly to your kind. That was mind-boggling. And Chris, you showed great restraint, because when Rod Schilling called you boy, I just wanted to lean right into him and knock his freaking teeth out. And Ivan Hawker had the same response. And he even told him.
He did.
If that was me, you'd be losing some teeth. Yeah.
I was like, when it happened, I've never been called boy. Like, I've never even heard anyone. Like, that's just not, I didn't. And I think at first I just didn't get what was going on. And someone told me that I reacted very quickly, which in my mind, it played out very slow. It was like, what? You just called me boy? But I could tell that he meant it as an insult, the way he was like so smug and laughing about it afterwards.
Totally.
I'm like, so I was just insulted, but I don't feel insulted. And like, I thought about it. I'm like, boy, that's not a curse word. There's nothing wrong with that. And then I'm like, no, it's kind of like mildly racist. Like, boy, you pick my cotton.
It's not racist,
like,
it's demeaning. What he's saying is that you're a boy, he's a man, and that we're in a room of men, and you should learn your place, sit down, and shut up. That is exactly what he meant. He just didn't have the time to say all of that, so he said boy. Which is
just mildly ironic, given the fact that Michael Brainard is younger than me, and you are the same age roughly as Rod, and Michael's being extremely disrespectful to you. Anyways, but yeah, I was called boy. I went over and asked him if he's okay. I don't know. I don't believe in like violence, so I love your little thing, your little boy thing. I just asked him. I said, Rod, are you okay? Like, are you okay in the head? Like, what is the purpose? What could possibly come from? I don't know. Whatever. It's just stupid. I don't know. But God, and the whole time all of this was going on, I go back to this fat pig of a man sitting there eating his chicken strips, making light of the meeting, joke. He just had a great time. He didn't care. It was like it was all to me.
this was intent. They knew what they were doing. They knew they were going to cause problems, and I don't know why they thought that some reason if we get David Brock Smith there and Court Boyce, we get a couple of big time representatives there, nobody's going to be disrespectful. And I don't think they've understood the dynamics that we're dealing with. We've got and Steve Nye made this comment on Facebook where he said, "Oh, the party, there's so many people dealing with past grudges." No, this is not about past grudges. This is about a continuing abuse of power and corruption by our representatives. This has nothing to do going back any time. This is happening here and now. We have David Brock Smith, who was just found in violation of election laws because he lied. He lied about those 5 hours of radio time that he got. And then, on top of that, he chose Democrats over Republicans. To me, they have no place at this meeting and they deserve no respect.
Well, and I don't know, we keep talking about this guy and he needs to just go away. But, I was talking earlier about like if you had a perfect Republican Party and we got candidates and we put them forward, you'd hope for the support of the party, but we didn't get that this election cycle. So we had school board candidates, college candidates, all these sorts of taxing district candidates, and they didn't get any support from the Republican Party. And then on top of that, David Brock Smith is endorsing our Democrat opponents while claiming to be some leader in the Republican Party. That's wild. But no, my regret from this meeting, guys, is this. It's that nothing productive came out of it. So in their mind, they won because they're anti-productivity people. They don't want they don't want the Republican Party to be effective or productive. So they won. And I think, after everything blew up and they adjourned the meeting, we had an opportunity to meet. We're all there and we had the opportunity to be constructive. And I think that was a regret in my book, was that we were all very upset and passionate, but at no point was there a moment where one of us stood up and was the designated leader. And I think we need that next time, if there is a next time. There needs to be someone, and maybe it's you, when this person, the speaker, stands up and is whoa, okay, guys, let's simmer down, let's hold on a second, I'm going to talk. We need to give that person respect. And that didn't happen. All of us tried it, I think, at one point or another. Danessa, me, you, I think Diane even tried it to stand up and kind of bring calmness. Ivan and his wife did, which was incredible. It didn't last long, but there was moments when they stood up. They had a very demanding presence, and because they're very genuine, and they are in elected positions.
They were rude to Amanda. I mean, they were just downright rude. I mean, she was talking, and they started yelling at her. It's this is the first time she's been to this meeting. She's an elected official, and they're talking about me being disrespectful. It's are you freaking kidding me, man? Yeah. No,
we just need to kind of settle around somebody as if they're not going to have a new leader, if they're just going to continue with Michael, that's fine. We can't change that. We need to look at things that we can change. And that is something that we can change for going forward. Having somebody that we designate as someone who's going to be the voice for all of us. And, when things kind of get crazy, it's hey, okay, this person has our best interest in mind. They're going to make sure they get our feelings and our voice properly heard. And we, when they're talking, I don't know. I don't know. People probably might be Chris, you're trying to make it you, and you want to be the leader, and you want everybody to be silent when you're talking. No, I look around and I see chaos, and it's my gosh, it was an opportunity for someone. And I was hoping anybody. And again, Amanda and Ivan, Amanda, when she stood up and started talking, there was a good 5 minutes or so.
There was a few minutes we were all quiet and listening to her, and then all of a sudden they just started being rude to her, and it was this is uncalled for, folks. She's just explaining. The lady is on the school board. She's part of 4-H. She was explaining how she has experienced board, dealing with board and membership and conflict. And she said, "This is the worst meeting I've ever been to. This is the worst led meeting I've ever been to." So, I don't know.
So if people want to get involved and want to find that place where until the Republican Party changes, if they want to find a place where there's, rational, reasonable conversations where your voice is heard, and they want to get involved, we're going to be putting together some events. We're having an informal gathering this week. If you're interested, if you're super interested, we only have 20 spots. Like the room can only hold 20 people, so we're like keeping it private only for that reason. But then probably the next week or the week after, we're gonna have a much bigger thing. We're just having this first meeting to plan it, and then we'll let everybody know. But we're hoping to have it like big and open, and everybody kind of mingle and network. And that's what it's supposed to be, a party, people, like a party. There's
Yeah.
obviously business from time to time, but like it's supposed to be a party. I threw up a red graphic.
Oh, let me get to that.
I put out, so there's a website. Oh, you're gonna have to hide. Yeah, there's a website, and it's cooscountyconservatives.com. If you go there, there's a form to get involved. It's just like a normal contact form, but it has a couple questions, and one of them is, what is the number one change you would like to see in our local government? And these are some of the actual responses we've gotten so far. It's just, like, this is the sort of stuff I've been wanting to see from the Republican Party. Outreach, like
Right.
learning from people, sharing that with people, having dialogue, collaboration, using this to kind of guide a platform, to guide, what's important to people, what's important
Right.
to people in Coos County, not just pushing stuff on people. I mean, obviously, if somebody fills out the form and says, I would love to see, children groomed with, bizarre
Right.
social policies. Obviously, that's not something we're going to like incorporate into a conservative platform. If they're
No.
like, I'd love to see lots of government grants, and I want to fund those grants with more property taxes. Like, no, we're not going to do that. But if it's conservative, we want to hear about it. And if you go to cooscountyconservatives.com, and some of this stuff might change. We might change the website. We might, like, I was talking with some people yesterday and this morning, and it's like, maybe we'll come up with a new name for this, like a party name. Like someone said, like the Patriot Party. Like, that's cool, like
Right.
maybe be less strictly conservative and more just like open. It's hard to
Well,
find the right balance there.
here's the sad part is, if Michael Brainard was a real leader, he was a professional, he was someone who was an activist. In fact, most of the activists are the ones outside in our group. And in fact, all of the activists are outside in our group. It seems like we're all involved with other stuff, the wind turbine things, election integrity. We're dealing with a lot of other issues just besides the party situation. And so the thing is that this is what the party should be doing. And if I was Michael, and if he was more professional, if I was him, I would be having extra meetings on top of the regular Republican meetings to start whittling this out. You know what I mean? Start finding out if he
Figuring
was
it out.
smart, and because he had 3 elected officials who wanted to be PCPs. The state party wants 50 new PCPs statewide. He had 8 of them. We could potentially get 12 by the time we go to the next meeting. It's going to be 20. And if he would have taken that, he can go back to the state when he has the state meeting, and he could have taken all the credit for that. So he lost out on that. I mean, his stupidity, his loyalty to a corrupt senator has cost him his ability to do that. And it's costing his ability to be prepared for September. September is coming up. And if I was in charge of that party, I don't plan to be, but if I was in charge of that party, I would be having more meetings focusing on the upcoming campaign, getting prepared for that, because they're going in it at a disadvantage. They have no money. They're disorganized. They need to reorganize. They need to start gaining up on that money. And then they got to find qualified candidates. Who are they going to run against? Anyone who's on the left running for those positions? Sheriff, clerk, 2 commissioners. I would like to see the clerk replaced. Who's going to replace her? That I would be finding. I would be out there as a Republican leader on social media, broadcasting that everywhere. And we got a guy who, if he just speaks in public, shakes and trembles like a little girl. And
like, so those are the things you're passionate about. I am as well. But it's like, let's say Michael doesn't agree with that. Great. Fine. Don't bother us. And empower us to do that through the Republican Party organization and allow us
Right.
to, because it doesn't hurt. Why would that hurt anybody to have us find conservative candidates to run? So allow us to do that and go from there. And it's
Right.
just, that's this. All right. I really, I can't, I don't think I can talk about it anymore. It's insane. It's insane. We got to like, so there's this, there, we got to do things in parallel. You know,
Right.
Michael, that whole situation, it needs to change immediately, ASAP. So if anybody's involved that can make that change happen, it needs to happen now. And again, it's like you just mentioned, so that we're not screwed in the spring primary. Then in parallel, we're doing this other thing called, I call it Coos County Conservatives. We're going to meet on Wednesday and probably come up with something different for it, some name, you know, and go from there, because we got to figure out how to do all these things that need to be done some way. We're going to keep plowing forward. So that's my 2 cents. If we can't stop, we can't just say, well, Michael's in our way, we're not going anywhere. So we're just going to keep, and like, we're going to pick something, or at least I'm going to propose that every month we pick a part of the platform. So the Republican Party has a platform. So like maybe the month of August is election integrity, and we focus on that for the whole month. And that's the theme of the month. We present it on social media. We have somebody come in and speak who has to do with election integrity. And that's the focus of the month. Like, and then the next month we move on to something else, you know, law and order. We have the sheriff come in. We have potential sheriff candidates come in, you know, like these are the things that we need to be doing, and we're not. But I'm finally fed up, and we're going to do them anyway. You know,
We have to, like
it's
you
just a
said,
shame that we're not doing them under the umbrella that's there. But sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and what, you know, and you're right. That was where I was going. Under the umbrella of the Republican Party, they should be the tip of the spear. All the other organizations follow under them, just like a pyramid. And it's not that they're beholding to the Republican Party. Like I said, they're working in parallel, but in unison, coordinating with them. And that's why we had the liaison position. We did quite well back then. We need to get that. We need to eliminate. And this is why we want to change the bylaws. And we haven't made this a secret. We've told them we want to change the leadership as far as the chair, because we think it's a bad fit. We want to change the bylaws. And the thing that we want to change in the bylaws is we want to get rid of the old chair having a position on the executive committee, because if you have a bad chair, if we get rid of Michael, if we get rid of him, does that mean we have to have him around as the former chair? And
with the bylaws not changing, if the bylaws don't change and Michael is recalled, he would still be on the executive board and have a vote. And currently Rod Schilling, who is the prior chair, is on the executive board, and he has been the tiebreaker vote on many controversial, all the controversial stuff. It's essentially been a 4-4 split because Rod's been on there. And their side looks at this. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room. They look at this as Chris is trying to tip the scales. He wants Rod gone from the executive board. So a 4-4 vote now becomes a 4-3 vote in Chris's favor. Okay. I'm incredibly passionate about candidates and events and outreach. Damn me for being that passionate about wanting those things. And when I propose them in an executive board session, you guys shit on it. Like, sorry. Yes, I want that scale tipped hard. I want it totally tipped over. And then same thing for Michael as chair. He can't be recalled unless a majority of PCPs recall him. And they think that this whole thing that we're adding PCPs is to tip those scales, to get him recalled. I would then, per the bylaws, become the chair, and I would be the leader of this party, and I would take over. Is that bad? Is that bad? We're looking at a catastrophic situation with our current chair. Why would it be bad that somebody new would take over? But here's the kicker. I don't want to be chair. I'm not going to be chair. Now, if there's some like revolt and whoever, Michael's removed and people really, really, really want me to stay as chair, I'll consider it. But there needs to be an election. If Michael is removed, there needs to be, and I'm proposing like a 2-month election process where we, invite people to these meetings, have open dialogue. People can stand up. If you're interested in running, you can talk at multiple events and kind of get so people can get a feel of you, not just like a 5-minute thing and then we vote. No, we want to really get to know who our new leader is going to be. get to know what their priorities are, what their passions are, how they're going to work with everybody, because we've got a very diverse crowd
Right.
and a lot of different personalities. So that's what I want. And we will pick a new leader. Okay. That is what needs to
And
happen.
we, as in all of the PCPs together making that choice, not Chris, not Rob, not Chris and Rob and Danessa,
Right.
all of the PCPs allowed to make that choice. And that's what kills me. All we're asking is to be able to play with the same rules that we have always played by. And when they start, like I said, when they're standing at a meeting, some guy's standing up there literally making up his own freaking rules and
Yep.
then trying to convince us, someone who's been in that party since that kid was in his teens, and him telling me, oh, no, this is how we do it. No, you got to go. You got to go. And Michael, we're not asking you to leave the party because you have great assets. There are great assets that you can bring to the party because you're good with the data. You're just not good with organization. You're not good with dealing with people. You're not good with conflict resolutions. You're not good with presentation. Stick with the data and stick in the background, because this is driving. If you really love the party, Michael should step down. And if I was in charge of the party and anything personal that I was doing or anything that I was in the party was doing, keeping people down, and I hope people would tell me, you know what I mean? I hope people would stand up to me and say, Rob, you're making up your own freaking rules. You know what I mean? And we have no one on the executive board other than you, and they're accusing you of being the problem. And that's what that was funny. Kathy was saying, well, we didn't have these problems until Chris was there. Actually, Kathy, we've had these problems going back quite a while, and it came to a head with David Brock Smith canceling me on the radio. And I have been run out of the party because I didn't have any people there. It's Rod's people. And so why bother? I'm going to be I'm supposed to sit there and get outvoted. And it was until other people like you and Danessa and other people who wanted to change that party that I said, I'm going to become a Republican, get involved, and we're going to do something. And that's what we've been doing. And we've been doing it for over a year. So no, this isn't something that culminated with you getting elected as vice chair. And in fact, I could make the argument this has all been happening since Michael Brainard has been the chair, and he has all the authority and you have none.
Oh, he's repeatedly told me that I work for him.
Right.
Like he says, I work for him and I'm supposed to do nothing until I'm told what to do by Michael. Well, Michael, you haven't told me to do anything. It's July. I was elected in November. You have not delegated a single thing to me. You haven't asked me to collaborate on anything. You didn't even send out to Danessa and I a sign-up sheet for the fair booth. We weren't even asked to be at the fair booth because they just don't want us there. And that's crap, you know. But anyways, but people like on the other side, again, you're going to say, well, there's an election that happened in November. So you're asking for an election now, but we just had one and we elected Michael. Well, first of all, you know, look at the data. You know, there's some new things that maybe you should kind of like look at now, how the party's going, the direction. But let's say you can't see any of that, right? It doesn't matter. That election took place with 48 out of 198 available PCP seats filled. And, you know, I was running for commissioner the whole prior year. No one ever told me anything. I didn't know what the word PCP meant. It's not a word, but you know, no one told me anything. They didn't do any sort of outreach to try and get people to fill those vacancies because they liked the 48 people they had, or most of them. And they knew that if they kept those people, they had the majority. They did any outreach, they might lose it. So they did no outreach. They kept the little club that they had, and they elected Michael Brainard. Rod Schilling has told me that he has been grooming him for years to become chair, and that is who they selected. So, I mean, it's like, that wasn't an election. Come on, people.
So once again, I go back to professionalism. As a supervisor, I have trained, well, anyone who's ever worked under me, I've trained them. That's what you do as a supervisor. It's nonstop training them. And if I was training anyone to be in that position, Rod Schilling has to be really corrupt or really stupid, because either he's too stupid to realize that Michael was never meant to be in that position because he just doesn't have the qualifications for it, or he's corrupt and he's putting Michael there because Michael will follow orders and in fact, you see Michael looking to Rod all the time, and Rod has to stand up and make a point, and then he sits back down and the meeting goes on all the time. I don't want a chair that has to have a daddy and a mommy there to comfort them when they get too scared. I want someone who has a backbone. Danessa, she might cry once in a while. Danessa would have cleared that room if she needed to. So, you know what I mean? We need people, and once again, this is not promoting Danessa. I want a fair election once again to put another person in that position because we got to get rid of Brainard. And at this point, I really don't care who it is, unless it's David.
Well, and we're just two people. So say
Right.
you and I sign up 100 new PCP people. Personally, you and I, we go out there, we each get 50. They all get nominated and they go in there. That doesn't mean they're going to vote against you, Michael. They're their own individual people. We don't tell them anything. They might watch the show. I'd hope they do their own research, go on the election, go to Orstar, do your own research to see if my numbers are right with the Democrats and the Republicans. Like, look, do your own research. You know what I mean? Like, I would love for people to do more of this sort of stuff and to come to their own conclusions. That's what we're about. We don't tell people who to vote for, but it is clear, Michael Brainard and Rod Schilling, that people on your side come into those meetings with a preordained assumption about us, an assumption about our intentions, an assumption about what we're going to do and how they should vote accordingly. That is true. I have seen that. And you're just mentioning Kathy as an example. You know, she had no knowledge that this sort of stuff is kosher with the bylaws. This is totally normal. She's been told that what we're doing is wrong. It's against the bylaws. It's bad for the party, and she should vote against it. She was not educated. She was dictated to. And that's insane.
And look at this. This isn't, let's see, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The county bylaws?
7 pages of bylaws. That's it.
It's not a lot.
And it's pretty big print. So Joe Teal, and once again, I've known Joe Teal a long time, and I have nothing against Joe Teal. I don't know why she's backing David Brock Smith. I have never really talked to her about it. But she was on Facebook and she said that she made the comment that sure, your PCPs can get elected, or the PCPs can be elected, but they have no voting authority. And I said, Joe, I love you, babe.
I do.
But here is Article 3, Section D, where there's the only one caveat that the appointed PCPs cannot vote for is the committee executive board during the organizational meeting.
Yeah. Yes. During the reorganizational meeting. Every other year. But after that, so if there's a vacancy like treasurer, like we just had, any appointed PCP can vote for that. And that is a thing that Rod and Michael have been telling everybody.
Right.
And I've had to argue with them over and over and over. And, the treasurer election, why did we have a treasurer vacancy? Gee whiz, could it be because the old treasurer could not stand Michael and could not stand what he was doing to this party, so she resigned? And it's like,
actually, and then that's the last 2 treasurers who could not stand working with Michael Brainard. It's Daria and then MJ Golder, who I hope, MJ, if you're watching, I hope you come back to the next meeting. I know it's going to be a little tough. I know you don't like those confrontational things, and that's part of the reason why you left the job of treasurer. And I thank you for becoming treasurer. But Michael recruited MJ Golder, didn't bother telling her he was recruiting her, and put her up on that slate. And then once again, him not preparing people because he's not a professional person, she was left to the dogs and basically realized, wow, there's something wrong here. And then fell on our side, or aligned with our side of the group. And she's still aligned with our side of the group. She thinks that Michael is just a horrible, horrible person for doing not a person, but doing a horrible, horrible job. Daria doesn't think much higher of him. So,
well, and Daria and I were talking, so she's the 2 prior treasurers. Michael was doing stuff that wasn't by the book
Right.
for filing things in Orstar. We got fined, I think, a couple $100 as a party for it. It's the same sort of stuff David Brock Smith is getting in trouble for.
Yep.
And then we come to find out that David Brock Smith is paying Michael for services. We don't know what this is. He's being paid by his campaign funds. And by the way, these are, the Coos County Republican Party last October gave David Brock Smith, this political action committee, Friends of David Brock Smith, was given $1,000 by the Coos County Republicans, and he didn't need it. He's using it now. If you look on there, there's hotel expenses. I believe one of them is the registration for the meeting we just had in Bend. I mean, like, he was elected back last fall, and he's currently spending this money on random stuff around the state.
Right.
So he did not need that $1,000, and he
No.
took it from a county party who needs that money. We needed that money in our school board elections this past spring. We're going to need it next spring and next fall for our other elections. We're going to need it for outreach. We needed that money, David. And if you're just going to use it to go to hotels and dinners and events, and that's how you're using our money, give it back.
Give
If
it
you're going
back.
to give it to Michael Brainard, one line item there is for like $800 for a mailer, and the other $200 is for like services. We don't know what the heck that is. We don't know what mailer went out.
Did
And if,
Janessa talk to you about it?
no,
Did she tell you what Michael told her?
no, what was it?
Okay, so after the election in the primary, when David Brock Smith ran against Todd Vaughn in the primary last year, he was $13,000 in debt. I didn't know he had gone $13,000 in debt. And so Stan Avery had donated $500 to the campaign. And somehow this money was to pay back Stan Avery for bailing out David Brock Smith with the $13,000 in debt that he was with his PAC. And I'm
No.
hearing this second
No.
hand. And that's what I heard. That's what Michael told Danessa, and Danessa told me. So I'm hearing
First
this
of all, Michael
secondhand.
better get his story straight, because this is some
Right.
legal stuff. I mean, you
Yep.
can't file the one line item is $800 and change, and it's from like the postal service, like you mailed
Right.
something, and then the other line item is for services for like $200 some dollars. So you better get your story straight, because that's what you told the state of Oregon. That's what you told
Right.
Orstar that money was for. So it's your own personal thing. It's Michael Brainard, Friends of David Brock Smith. We don't have to know, I guess. You don't have to tell us. It's not part of the Republican Party. You guys did your own thing. You're spending money back and forth, but it is a little shady, sir. You're taking $1,000 from a county party, and then a couple months later, way after you're elected, you're giving about $1,000 to Michael Brainard for we don't know what, and a mailer during which you endorse Democrat opponents. It's shady as all heck, but you know what? Whatever. I just want the $1,000 back for the Central Committee, because he obviously didn't need it. He might have had a deficit back in the spring, but after the fall election, he had cash because
Right.
he's still spending that cash.
He got
I think there's a way to-
$25,000 from oh gosh, he got a lot of big donations right after the election, which makes once he secured his seat, of course, it's pay for play. That's really what they're buying. And with Michael here, I'm going to do a public records request on this particular transaction.
Yeah,
to
let's
find
get the
out
receipts on that.
And I want to see the receipts on it, because, well, if Michael's saying one thing and it's being reported as something else, well, then we've got a problem. It's kind of like the Tuttle situation, where Tuttle is saying, well, I live in Gold Beach, but yet I'm voting from California in both states. And by the way, when I donate money, sometimes I'm out of state, sometimes I'm in state. It's like, okay, where do you live?
Look into that.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. They act like we're the ones spreading misinformation or disinformation. All we're doing is asking questions about your very conflicting accounting right here. So
on the graphic I sent you, spreadsheet. Sorry if people don't like numbers, and this is like a lot of spreadsheets, but look at this. This is all of Michael Brainard's I guess expenditures and income in Orstar. So since Well, that says July 24 to the president. That's not true. But since the 2021, Michael has had $7,000 in expenses paid off between the Republican Party and Friends of David Brock Smith. $7,000, over $7,000 in Orstar. Which I guess I feel like you're a busy guy and you're helping out candidates. That's one thing. But this is excessive compared to anybody else. You type in anybody else's name that's involved in these sorts of things, and it doesn't come up like this. And then when you compare that to his contributions, it's only $145 in contributions.
Mhm.
I mean, like, I don't know. It smells of like grifter, it smells of like, I just don't understand. What are you doing that is getting you all of these expenditures written off?
$7,500 worth of expenditures. Yeah. Okay. We're going to have to look into this. So
And then you compare that with our graphs of, we've got $1,300 coming into the Republican Party this year, but $4,800 going out.
Yeah.
And some of those expenses were Michael. Michael bought like $1,000 speaker system that I've only seen him use twice.
Right.
And he's the only one who's allowed to use it. And I'm sure it's at his house.
Yes.
I don't understand that.
He's doing karaoke in his bedroom right now. His mom comes in and cheers him on. Yay, Michael, you're doing so good. You should have been the fourth Beatle. But no, this is excessive. I look at this. This is really excessive. And I think this has to be investigated. So, Michael, if you're watching, if you put your faith in David Brock Smith, I can tell you right now, he's the first one. He'll cut you loose. He's not your friend. He's using and manipulating you. And if you continue to latch onto him, you're going to suffer the consequences that he will suffer because of his own actions. And he will in the end. I can assure you, Michael, I've seen it coming a long time. Everyone gets their comeuppance. It happens. And it's going to happen to David Brock Smith. And it's going to happen to you, Michael, if you're doing something shady. And we're going to find out. We're going to investigate. And his is what makes me mad, Michael. I want to be investigating the Democrats. I would like to dig into what Melissa Cribbins is doing and what that political action committee is that they're doing. I'd love to have the time to do that. But I and Chris here are too busy having to go after people who should be on our side, but don't seem to want to be on our side, who don't seem to want to. And when I say our side, I mean the right side, the people who are part of MAGA, the people who are part of conservatives, libertarianism, all of that. You know what I mean? If you're watching this, you're going to be in trouble, Michael. You're going to be in big trouble. So my advice to you is I would always when I was going to fire someone, and I assure you, Michael, eventually we're going to fire you. I assure you of this. When I would fire someone, I would always give them the chance to quit. And I would tell them, look, I don't want to put a firing on you. Unless they were a real asshole. There were some people I really enjoyed firing, but there were some people I didn't like firing, and I would give them a chance to quit. And that's what I'm doing to you, Michael. If you were smart right now, you could save face by saying, look, I don't want to cause all this controversy in the party. I love what we're doing for this country. I'm doing it for a reason, and I'm going to step down now because of this controversy. In fact, Michael, that's why I'm not running for any executive board, because I don't want to cause controversy. I'm not suited for that position. Neither are you, Michael. You and I should not be on the executive board. And I'm asking you, as another person who's not suited for the executive board, who's been on the executive board, you need to get off. And your best bet would be just resign and tell people, I don't want to cause any more conflict. And we would love to work with you. We would love to work. Boy, this election integrity, the data stuff, the stuff you get from the legislature, Michael, I would love to work with you on that. But I can't, as long as you're in this position of authority who is putting up barriers to the progress of the Republican Party in Coos County. You're doing this. You're doing this. You have all the power. You have all the authority. Resign, Michael. Resign with dignity, and let's put someone else in there. And I can assure you that someone is not going to be this guy. And so there you go.
Well, and he's nervous that it's me, right? I mean, by the bylaws, the moment he resigns, I become the chair.
You become chair.
Look, I'm saying it you guys can use this. You can record this and send it to everybody and recall me if this doesn't happen. I'm going to hold an election immediately. I mean, I'm proposing like a 2-month election because like I want to have some events where people can feel like they actually get to know who will be our next leader, and it's not just some quick like 5-minute talk. Raise your hand. Okay, this person wins. You know, we need a real leader. We need somebody who's actually going to do something. So it can't just be a quick thing. But that's what I'm going to do. That's what I would do as chair. I would see that process through, and then we would respect the results of that election. Michael, if you don't trust me or you don't want to do that, it's probably coming anyway. But if you don't, then do it yourself. Hold an election. Don't resign. Hold your own election. Say that when the election happens, you'll resign like that day when we have the meeting.
Right.
If you don't trust me, and I'll resign with you. I'll sign a document that says like on this date I resign. You know what I mean? Like I'm in it to see the future of this party and this county, this community grow and be better. Like I don't freaking get it. And like you just said, Michael, you gotta make a decision, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he gonna do at every meeting? Just adjourn the meeting and like shut it down?
That's what we're going to do until May. Literally, that's what we're going to do. It's going to be like, oh, let's go to the boxing match at the Republican Party. And by the way, I'm sure we're never going to be allowed in the Cozy Kitchen ever again. And by the way,
when I afterwards and I said, do not allow us back here again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That was a tradition, by the way. That's a tradition. It's probably also about 20 years old. Yes. And so that tradition is gone. Once again, another tradition gone because, well, we got people who would rather be loyal to a corrupt senator than actually work with the people who want to move this party forward. It's crazy. And the way the senator was acting while this was all going on, sitting there, eating his chicken, having a good time. Yeah, that was just absolutely disgusting. You know, I have to give credit to Boyce. At least Boyce was upset. You know what I mean? He threw in his 2 cents worth. He was speaking up. He was saying stuff, but damn, you know what I mean? It's like to sit there, that's psychotic. That is psychotic to sit there and gleefully have a good time while all of us are fighting because he caused that. And that's just ridiculous. And like I said, Michael, I would love to work with you on the legislative stuff. We share something in common. If you and I could work together during the legislative session, we would be a heck of a team. But like I said, I can't do that right now. And it's because you're in a position of authority. I saw Wayne Krager. You know who Wayne Krager is?
No.
He's the guy who David Brock-Smith replaced. Court Boyce is now in his position. And it was, Wayne had come to me and asked me, he says, look, I got this guy that I think I want to put in my position. And so I've got a way of getting him in the primary where he's not going to be challenged. It was a dirty trick. He retired just a few minutes before they were allowed to sign up for the election. So people thought Wayne Krager was going to be the candidate. He retires, and then David Brock-Smith files and becomes the candidate. It was a dirty trick because there was another Republican who wanted to run, and they wanted to shut her out. So they did that. And I was part of that, unfortunately, because I was called and asked, would you accept David Brock-Smith as a candidate? And I said, sure, I've worked with David. He's a great guy. And this was way before Tuttle tokens and all this stuff. And so it just ticks me off. I haven't changed. My policies, my beliefs have not changed one iota. So why is this going on if it wasn't for the senator being corrupt? I can't. If you can answer that question, Michael, I would love to hear it. But once again, you need to resign. Rod, you need to get off the executive board and get your hand out of Michael's ass, because that's just, boy, you're disgusting, Rod. You need to stop it. I don't even want to work with you. So, you know, that you tried to get me canceled, Rod. You're no better than Court. You're no better than Antifa. You're no better than BLM. Go. You need to go. But Michael, I'd love to keep you in the party and I'd love to work with you, but resign. Please resign. Don't make us go through this. We don't really want to do this.
Well, and I'll show my hand at every meeting going forward. I'm going to propose bylaw changes and I'm going to propose PCP nominations. I have sent out an email to the entire membership what those bylaw changes that I'm proposing are. They've been given, it was May 23rd I sent the email out, so they've had plenty of notice to review them, to discuss them, to research them. And then the PCP nominations, I mean, that's a no-brainer. So and anybody would be welcome. I'm not just saying my nominations, anybody's nominations can come
Anyone.
and be nominated and appointed. And those are two, I believe, very small, and I respect the process. If Michael, and you guys, you want to vote it down, great. I'll be at the next meeting and I'll propose the same thing. And I'll do that at every single meeting, and you can vote it down, and that's how we'll go. And you can show the world that you do not care about growing the party, and that you want to keep the structure of that party and the bylaws the way it is. The other bylaw change, they make people resign if you run for any office. Like if you run for school board, you'd have to resign as like treasurer.
Is that a state law?
No, it's just in our county bylaws. It's not in any other county. I've asked other counties to send me their bylaws. I have not seen that.
Oh, okay.
And,
I thought there was a state law that caught. I didn't know.
No.
This is something
I even asked.
What the hell's the matter with these people?
Yep, I even asked the president and the vice president of our Oregon Republican Party to weigh in on their opinion on it, because Dinesh and I are on the executive board, right? And we were running for office. We were running for, and so per the bylaws, if you read it like to a T, we were supposed to have resigned.
I remember that.
I asked for guidance from the Oregon state level Republican Party, and they said that is not their interpretation of it. That is not. They've never seen that before, and that is completely counter to the party. They said it is a benefit to have your people running for office in general, but especially people that are heavily involved in your leadership. It's a benefit to have them in your local offices. The only thing I could think of is like a conflict of interest thing, right? Like if say you're like treasurer and you're running for office, then just abstain from votes. Like if you're voting on a package that would give your campaign financial benefit in an election, abstain and have other people do the managing of that money. Or maybe the treasurer should resign. But again, like leave that up to the person, leave that up to the party, leave it up to like an individual situation. Don't mandate it. So I'd like to change that, or at least discuss it. I can't change it on my own people. So the fact that it can't even be brought up for discussion is mind-blowing. So these are the sorts of things that I look at, that need to be changed. And the third change is they put a clause on the bottom of our county bylaws that is illegal. It goes against state law. And it just says that the bylaws can't be changed except once every 2 years, which is against state law. State law specifies that our bylaws can be changed at any meeting. So it's in a violation of an ORS, and it needs to be removed from our bylaws. It's not effective. Just because it's written there doesn't make it legal, and it needs to be removed. It's just kind of a cleanup thing. That's it. And again, I'm asking to discuss them, and then we vote on them as a body. Same thing with the nominations. I'm asking to be able to nominate someone. Like, raise my hand. I nominate Rob Taylor to be appointed as a precinct committee person. And then we discuss, and then we vote. I'd love the person to stand up. Rob, can you please stand up, introduce yourself, say hi, tell us a little bit about yourself. People can ask you questions. That's what I'm proposing, and we can't even discuss it. That is how petty this has become. We can't even discuss these things.
They all know me. That's what kills me. Oh, we need to vet it. You all know me. I've been here forever. What do you need to vet? I
don't mind the vetting. If it's transparent vetting, right? Like you stand up where we ask you questions and it's super informal. Like I would just say, Rob, it's more of like, I want to get to know you. I'm going to vote for you, but like, I want to know, like, Rob, what's your number one thing that you want to push around here that's conservative? Like, what would you want to change? Like those, I don't know. Those are the sorts of questions that I would have. Nothing. I'm not going to like disqualify someone. Now, say David Brock Smith moved into our county and shows up and he wants to be appointed as a PCP and someone nominates him. I'm going to vote no. And I would vote for no for anybody who is going against conservative candidates that we've found and presented to the public and we're trying to support. That's like a duh. So we do want to vet,
Right.
but like that's reasonable vetting.
Right.
They want to vet people based on like temperament and demeanor, which
Mm-hmm.
again is ironic knowing how Michael Brainard acts. But
Right.
I guess they've seen videos of me at a public meeting, you at a public meeting, right? We're, oh my gosh, the way he talked to that mayor,
Yeah.
man, he's just a bad dude. We don't want him around.
And
So,
that's the funny thing is, and you and I have no authority when we walk into a city councilor meeting or any board meeting. We have no authority whatsoever. And we listen to these meetings and it's either we're going to do things you don't like. We're going to vote against things that you don't want. We're going to raise taxes. We're going to create new regulations. To me, that's mean and cruel. You know what I mean? That's the real, what Michael was doing by violating his own bylaws. That's the cruelty. That's the bulliness. That's the one who's being the bully. Those of us who speak to those, question that, who challenge that, for them to point us out as the bully, as the bad guy, it's leftist tactics. It's projection. It's ridiculous.
for people who might not know me, I screamed and yelled at a commissioner meeting, probably back in December.
Yeah, but they yelled at you.
You want to know why? But also, you want to know why? Because,
Yeah.
well, you know why, but the public, because they had viable solutions, by the way, for 20 years to solve the jail and funding issue with our county. And they didn't. For 20 years. They've known this, probably even beyond that, but they've not solved it for that long. And then those same people who have been sitting there for 20 years had a viable solution. We had a viable plan to fundraise and we had a plan to move forward to potentially save the jail, save these deputies, and they shit on it and decided not to. They laid off jail deputies who we had just hired months prior, and shut down the jail, shut down half the jail right around Christmas, and literally let prisoners out onto the streets of Coquille. That is why I got mad. And if that doesn't make you mad, then I don't think we'll ever get along. So I don't mind, and like that's the sort of, so they're like, oh my gosh, he's such a hothead, he's crazy. Yeah, if you're going to release criminals out into our streets, into our neighborhoods, and defund our jail and not give a shit and not even try and find a solution, worse than that, you're going to work against solutions. Yeah, I'm going to be mad.
Yep.
I'm going to be real effing mad. And you're going to hear about it. I mean, like, anyways, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm talking about it, but it's just, it's frustrating to know that like they use that against you. Some people will call that passion.
Yeah. Some people, I call it, well, I used to tell people I'm passionate about my wife. I'm passionate about pepperoni pizza. Politics, it's more frustration. It's a lot more frustration than passion. And, you only told me you were going to be available for an hour, and here I've kept you on here for 2 hours.
Oh, no worries. It's a good conversation to be having.
It is. And we've got a lot of viewers. We've got over 118 viewers on here. So live right now. And so we're doing, thank you all. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. We love it. You want to stick around? I was going to play a quick video. It's about 18 minutes long. It's me and Marty at the fair, doing me and Marty at the fair.
Sure. I'll watch it. I'm going to probably turn my camera off and like vacuum or something while I'm listening to it.
You got it.
No, very cool. Appreciate everybody listening. If there's a takeaway from all this, it's get involved, do something, think of something productive, think of a way to help, think of what you can bring to the table and get involved. And we can all solve this. And think local. Don't get into the weeds on like state and federal stuff with your neighbors or other, like, focus hyper local, because if we can't fix this local stuff, how in the hell are we going to like elect an Oregon governor who's conservative? How in the hell are we going to fix stuff at a federal level? So think of how to fix these things to the best of our ability locally, and get more conservative leaders elected. And stay tuned. go to our website, cooscountyconservatives.com, to sign up for, if we're putting on an event, which we probably will in the next week or two. You'll want to be there. It'll be a good time, and you'll get to meet like-minded people. So there's my minute.
All right, cool. That was well worth it. And since, me and Marty, we put in all that time at the fair, and I want to thank every single one of you who came by our booth, the End VBM vote by mail. Thank you all for coming by. It was really amazing. The cool part is that there were a lot of people who we all do it. We look at people and we make assumptions. We judge a book by its cover. And I don't know how many times when I would see these hippy dippy looking people and I'm thinking, they're never going to sign this. I don't know. Should I even ask them? They're never going to sign this. And I mean, it was a delightful surprise to see some of these people. Yeah, I'm sick of that. I'm tired of them screwing it. That's a bad situation. And I mean, it was really good to have these all the people down there signing who I normally would just, if I saw them on the street, I think, oh boy, that person's a total liberal. So it just shows you that you can't really judge a book by its cover. And it's nice to get out among the people. And we are really well liked in Coquille. I mean, I don't know if the feedback I was getting about you and me and what we're doing and what, everyone around us is doing, but because you and I are like front men, we're on the podcast, people were coming up just to speak with me. It was really humbling. And I didn't realize, wow, I'm, because I got it more when I was on the radio and I don't get it as much now, but to have people, there was one young lady, we asked her to take a picture. She goes, are you Rob Taylor? And I go, yeah, that's me. She goes, oh, that is so cool. And she was like 17 and I shouldn't even care what a 17-year-old girl thinks, but it was like, wow.
It's cool though that young people are getting involved and they actually care. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, sometimes you don't know something was good until it's gone, and you're not gone, but they took you off the radio. And I know, right. I've told you before, I worked as a handyman and I would be at a job, they had added me to a work crew and they've got the radio on and it's your show and they're all listening to it. They're arguing about it, like, oh yeah, I'm like, that's good. Like, I know him, like this was just, they turned it on Mondays at 3.
Yeah.
It's a thing. So it's, and well, we'll fix it.
We'll fix it. So let me play this video. So here is a video of me and Marty walking around at nighttime. They actually let us do this at the fair. Oh. All right. Me and Marty at the Coos County Fair.
I know.
What a dude. I mean, you've been here all week, right? You've been in the hot sun. Shut up, Marty. Yeah.
No. But what I was saying is that we're doing this volunteer work, and now we're like, let's go look at the Midway and try to enjoy something for once.
Yeah. Any luck? You giving away a lot of them?
For the top ones, those are 16 loops, and no one really wants to go for those. But we've got like 3 winners on the axe throw so far, like all day. And we're 1 person today, 2 yesterday.
Cool. What's your name?
Wyatt.
Where are you from?
Washington.
Washington State.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good time. Hello, Marty. You can win. You can win unicorns.
Well, one of the people that came by our thing had a unicorn with stars in its eyes.
I bet my granddaughter
It was
tried
the
that
white one. But I was kind of hoping it would be a real axe throw. Those don't look like real axes, you know. Not to be critical or anything, but
No, they're just plastic and bone.
yeah, because I'm like, yeah, what would the midway be like if all of a sudden people are like had real axes to throw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have been like, yeah.
Yeah. Whoo.
They did have the axe booth. Did you see the axe booth down there?
Not yet. I
Oh,
haven't really. Actually, I've had a lot of time to do it. I just haven't really gone down that way.
Yeah, it's down by the stage that's next to the beer garden.
I didn't go myself, so I don't know either.
I probably passed it quite a few times because after work, I'd go over there to listen to music.
Cool. All righty. And moving on.
Wow, I don't even know how. I was holding the camera. I was talking. I wasn't paying attention to my camera angle.
Why? What were you
I don't know
filming?
what I was filming. I hope it's something good.
Safety rules. No hard throwing. No leaning over counter. Bystander must stand behind dart player. Well, that's probably a good idea. So is there anything particular you want to see, or?
No, I just wanted to walk around and see what's
Okay.
at the Coos County Fair. I've been here all week and I really didn't get to see. I like this Starship Exodus thing.
Yeah.
I think it's like, remember that roundabout thing that was
Yeah, Silly Silo is
The
called.
Silly Silo.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Silly Silo, and hopefully you were not downstream of the person who got sick by being in the Silly Silo. Because projectile vomiting just essentially went sideways. Good
How you
evening.
doing? Or do you want to? Oh, this is always good.
Oh yeah, throwing it into the.
After a while, I just start buying the prizes for the kid. You know, it's like, okay,
Probably cheaper.
it's just cheaper that way.
Shoot out the star. So they have, what kind of stars are you shooting at? Are you going for like Whoopi Goldberg, Rob Reiner?
Oh, what is this?
It's like a BB gun shooting at a target.
This is cool.
Shoot the star out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Now, that's what the county fair is all about. Bringing your kids
See.
in to like shoot at stuff.
Yeah, but they should have like targets, like of people that we don't like Ayatollah. You know.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I was saying. They said shooting stars, and I'm like, oh, we talking
Oh
like
yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg, Rob Reiner,
Shooting stars. Yeah, we.
Robert De Niro, Jimmy Kimmel.
Wow. That's what's dangerous. Okay, we're recruiting him. He's
I know.
He's good for the militia. All right. No one's here at the water shoot because why would you do the water shoot when you could do real shooting?
When you can do real shooting with real BBs.
They should have put this on the other side. They should have put this on the other side over there and separated them. Hey, man.
And there's the win cool prizes here, dude. Okay, that's the throwing the ball into the floating. What is that? A pudding cup?
I don't know. And look, nobody's at the let's go fishing.
Bass fishing.
This is depressing. Marty, you want to go fishing? You
No,
can win a hammer.
if I'm gonna go fishing, I'm going on the Coquille and catch some real bass.
We could do that.
But it must be pretty easy because I see everybody in the world and their pet dog with the inflated hammers. So
Doug Washington, he's so incredible. He could pull a catfish out of that thing.
a real one.
Yeah, a real one. He's amazing.
None of those fake ones.
What's this ride's food?
Oh, I like this ride. It's the Carnival customer
The
service.
Carnival customer service. How was your ride? I don't care.
I don't care. I don't
Get
have
outta
to
here,
care. We're only in Coos County for 4 days. After that, screw you. Purchase fun card tickets here.
Oh, wow. Look, get some grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese and
This
baked
is
potato.
genius. I wonder how much grilled cheese is.
Do you have to like throw the potato to at a target to get your grilled cheese?
Well, of course, you can get your money, and it looks like Rainier
Amusements.
Amusements.com owns the machines. Yeah,
Well,
that's
they
good.
basically own everything that we've walked by so far because they all have Rainier Amusement stickers on the sides of them. And so then for $45, for $50, you can get 120 tickets.
That's
Or $100, you can get 250 tickets.
capitalism on display.
Yeah,
Look
you
at
gotta
all
like
these
it.
People. Heck, look at the happiness capitalism has brought all these people.
I know. And in the background, the strains of a country singer whose name I do not know.
Oh man, I hope I can play this for my show. They always bleep out the songs if they're.
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
I mean, it's in the background, so it's not like you're intentionally playing the song.
yeah, they don't care.
Oh, I am.
I want to see what a ham and cheese. Well, what's a cheese sandwich go for?
Barry's baked potato.
An original grilled cheese sandwich is $14 for a freaking grilled cheese sandwich. That's gonna be a good.
Wow.
That's gonna be a good grilled cheese sandwich. We're
No,
just checking it
we're
out.
we're videotaping. Well, there you go. It's a loaded baked potato. What's the stack of
Samples.
stuff here? Tornado potato. That looks like you could poke an eye out though. So, and then we have the chicken bacon ranch grilled cheese with chips, display only. So is it? So this one's made out of plastic, but yeah, this one's made out of plastic. Hopefully the real ones aren't. Okay, we're just checking. So,
Wait,
are you having a fun evening or a fun week? Or okay, well that's good. We just got done doing work in a booth for collecting signatures for election integrity stuff. So fun. It's just a lap a minute. I mean, on our feet all day long, just ringing cowbells and I got to the point where I'm like, honestly, do you want me to harangue you about our petitions or what? Get over here and sign. Yeah.
you have a good night.
Thanks so much.
Oh, look, waffle cones,
Uh-oh.
ice cream cones, sundaes, float shakes, the works. They got the works.
Woo!
Ice
You know,
cream cones.
As much as a glutton for ice cream as I am, I do not think I can eat a cone that big. But if that's the size of the cones they're going to have, I'm going to give me one of those. Because you could basically take like a,
I think you'd get your money worth.
yeah.
I think you would, but I'm not taking that home.
Well, yeah, because the granddaughter will want to eat it all, and then she'll get like a sugar rush, and then next thing you know, it'll be like 3 days of continuous screaming. So yeah, it sounds like great. It sounds great. We need more of that. So what's that up on the hill? Is that the high school?
That's the high school up there. Oh, cool! Look at the lights. The
Oh.
lights in the background.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't even see that. Yeah, off the back of the stage.
Thank you. And there's the super slide. It is pink. My granddaughter told me it was pink, but I didn't believe it.
What's that? Super slide?
Super slide.
Okay.
It was. It's pink. I thought she was talking about the thing they gave her to slide down on.
Hey, we've got the super cool flags, shirts, and other things.
I wonder if they hang different flags when they go to different counties. Like when they go to Multnomah County Fair, they got Antifa and BLM flags and stuff.
We could always ask.
I like that.
How you doing?
Oh, that's cool.
Good evening. Oh, pretty good. We were curious. So if you're doing a fair in, say, a super red county like Multnomah, you put different flags up like Antifa and,
Really? That's cool. Well, I always enjoy seeing you guys because everyone comes by with the Trump flags. The guys have been walking around with Trump flags. It's
Yeah,
inspiring.
I like it when the kids are wearing the Trump flags like Superman capes.
That's nice. You have a wonderful night. Look, Marty, you need that shirt. Seriously.
Oh, that would go over so well in my household.
That would go. Your wife would love that. That would change her mind. She would go, "Oh, I
Oh,
love
well,
Nancy
yeah,
Joe."
now I'm changing my mind.
Yeah.
Or maybe it would teach her how to do axe throwing.
So this is. Did they have this last year? I can't remember.
Well, this is the first time I've been to the fair, so
Oh, that's
only
right.
you would know.
Oh, you're a fair virgin.
A fair virgin, yeah.
Oh, we'll be gentle for the first 5 minutes.
Ah.
I don't know how far I want to go with this.
Well, I mean,
There's a lot of gate around here.
oh, you mean, well, I mean, there's a big concert going on. Some musician, I'm not sure who's the name.
He's loud. He's really
Yeah.
loud.
And it sounds like they're piping in audience noise. I hear people cheering already over the loud music, so. Well, maybe that was their final song. Oh, not. There we go, 10:44.
Oh, that's a nice view. I
Yeah.
always love the fair lights.
Well, I like
That's
the,
entertaining.
yeah, I like the Ferris wheel juxtaposition with the whatever the thing, the Dumbos going around in a circle. And then a little farther along, just on this side of the kamikaze, we have the next thing, which eventually will start going up. So you'll have intersection of rotating lights in opposite directions. Now, if they could just get somebody to go on the Tilto World thing, then we'd be set.
Interesting. Well, I'm so glad to be done with this.
Oh, I
It was
know.
a nice fair, but I'm tired.
Yeah. I get home and I'm just like, and I'm done.
I wish we would have got those 1,000 signatures. That would have been cool.
Yeah. Well, considering that we're half the size of, what was it, Lynn County?
Of Lynn County.
Yeah, half the size of Lynn County. We got 650 or whatever, and they got 1,000. So we're actually doing better than they are per capita.
Per capita, we're kicking your ass, Lynn County. But we're going to be back.
Yeah.
We will be back. Coos County's known for getting its signatures. They got the numbers. It's real tricky.
Well, I think we pretty much covered everything. Unless you want to walk over to the, over to the, a little closer to the rides to get a different perspective on them.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. Well, I'm good with that answer too.
I'm good with that answer too.
At some point, I went from semi-engaged to, yeah, I still got like 45 minutes to drive home.
It's got ice cold bottled water. Nice.
Ah, ice cold bottle beer. I'd be right on top of that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny though. Rich was like going, you know how much they're charging for beer? $7. I'm going, haven't been out to a bar recently, have you?
No kidding. No kidding.
You know how much I got banged for a martini at Ghost Tree? It's I didn't want to buy the whole bottle. I just wanted one drink.
Yeah. I'm not making a
Hey, how you doing?
financial commitment here. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
get a drink, lady.
I didn't realize I was going to have to refinance my house for my 25th anniversary dinner. But it was tasty.
It was
Evening,
tasty.
gentlemen.
Oh, looky here. Oh, Marty, you got to do this.
Why? It's 500 flashing lights of something.
No, it's the Superman. You
Oh.
hit it. Kids only. Oh, wait.
Ah.
Man, Marty.
Well,
Dang, you're
I
not gonna be able
identify
to
as
do
a kid.
this.
I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Toys R Us kids.
You know, and it's like, you don't, what is it? You don't step on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim Doopa Doobit.
I like there's the hoop shots.
Yeah, when we were in the parking lot, I thought it said op shot, and I was like going, oh, you mean like we get to play like snipers?
Oh, that would have been a good one. But
It's like, okay,
you already went by the sniper one.
yeah, the asset pops up. Can you take him out?
Oh, Super Headquarters. Look, they're doing Super Headquarters.
Oh,
instead of
wow.
Haunted House. Like
Superhero HQ.
Superhero HQ.
No, not safe to ride. Yes, ride alone. 10 tickets. No open-toed shoes.
Crazy stuff going on there.
No smoking. No running. No food or drink.
Oh my God, that's what that is.
It's a good evening for Superhero HQ.
Excuse me. You need the restrooms?
No, I do not.
Oh yeah. Well then that's it. We're out of here.
All right. Well, thanks for enjoying the fair with us.
Enjoying the fair. Yeah. Later. And that was Saturday night at the fair. What a great time. And like I said, I want to thank all of you people. Look at it. Look at all of these signature sheets we got. Don't worry, folks. We'll flatten them out and we'll get them all in the correct spot. We plan on turning them in. Believe me, I'm not going to work 10, 12-hour days for 4 days in a row and let anything happen to these signature sheets. Yes, they're something I would defend with my life if I had to. But I want to, like I said, I want to thank all of you who came in and talked to us at the booth. We appreciate that. We appreciate it because sometimes we live in a vacuum. Everyone does it. You're around the same people. You're talking about the same things. You tend to align yourself and hang out with people who are like-minded. So some of us, we end up in a vacuum, and it was nice to be at the booth to talk to the regular Joes out there. Not as if I'm not a regular Joe, but you know what I mean? The regular people out there who are not involved in politics, but yet have common sense. They're not stupid. They know they're being, they know they're being lied to. They know what the government is doing to them. And it's so good to get back to the salt of the earth, to talk with people who are the movers and the producers of this county, the people who go to work every day and actually make this county run. People like 3H Tree Service. And by the way, 3H Tree Service, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, they had a winner. They did do the Where's 3H Tree Service game today, and we had a winner, so that's a good thing. Oh, Steve Nice piping in. Hey, Steve, how do we sign if we couldn't make it to the fair? Well, that's a damn good question. Let me see. You can go to the website, endvbm.com. Anyone can do this. Go to the website, print out a single sheet, and sign it and send it in. They'll give you the address. They'll tell you where to send it. And that's one way. The second way is that I got to get down to Ken Ware at Ken Ware's auto store. We're going to have petitions there. They're not there yet, so don't go there yet. But you can also get them in Myrtle Point. Janessa's at her ag store, her Coos ag store in Myrtle Point. You can get a signature. You can sign a signature sheet. And if you want to help us collect signatures, Janessa will get you extra signature sheets if you know 10, 20 people who would like to sign and get rid of vote by mail. And so that's a good thing. That's a real good thing. So anyone can do that. And I encourage that. Thanks, Steve, for asking that question. I'm glad you did that because I don't think I've told people that yet. So yes, you can still sign a petition at endvbm.com. And I talked to Matt Holman at the fair from 3H Tree Service, and he said he's going to show up at the next Republican meeting. He says that's what all the guys are talking about. It's funny. They're all, wow, did you hear that Republican meeting? It was another knockdown blowout meeting. We got to start attending. So, Michael, if you're still watching, this is Michael Brainard, the chair of the Republican Party. If you're still watching, if you're going to book a room for next month, make it a big room. We got a lot of people coming, a lot of people who want to be PCPs. And I talked to a lot of old timers at the fair. It was kind of like it was just meant to be, but I talked to a lot of old timers at the fair. They're coming back to the party. We're coming back. We're going to straighten out the situation there, get it flying right. And like I said, Michael, I'd love to work with you on a lot of different things. I think you're really good at data. I think you're good at analyzing the legislation coming out of the legislature during the legislative session. I'd love to work with you on all this. But as long as you're the chair of the Republican Party and you're making up your own rules and dictating your own procedures, we're not going to have any of it. We're going to work to get rid of you. And I would ask you, from one man to another, respectfully, you should resign. That's how I would do it. And Chris gave you an out. He told you you could not resign right away, but let people know you're going to have an election for the chair. Give it 2 months so we can have a couple events where we get to meet people who want to be candidates for this chair position. And we can all go and talk to them and find out who they are. And then you can resign with no disgrace, complete dignity, and remain as the party and fill a position. I'm sure there is, just because the executive board is the size it is now, maybe you might want to be, maybe we might want to create a new position like we had before that I filled when I was on the executive committee, and that was the liaison position, where you're the liaison between the Republican Party and all the other groups out there who are working on campaigns similar to what we do in the Republican Party. You could work on that. You could be the legislative liaison, where maybe we could work it out where you could be in Salem. Maybe we could figure out a way to get you to Salem, and you could get us the information of what's happening in Salem during the legislative session. I think there are really good things that you could do, Michael. Chair of the Republican Party is not one of them. And once again, I give you a warning. You align yourself with corrupt politicians like David Bruck Smith. That corruption, it rubs off. And you're a young man. You've got places to go. You want a future. My advice is resign, start over, start rebuilding, and cut your ties with these bad people who are manipulating you and using you, Michael. Rod Schilling, like Chris said, for years he's told us he's been grooming you to be chair. And he's either doing that because he's not that intelligent or he wanted to manipulate you. And I think it's the latter. I don't think Rod is a stupid man, but I think anyone who's ever been with you knows that you're not suited for the position of chair. So I would ask, please step down. And like I said, I'm not suited for the position of chair. I'm not suited to be on the executive board. I'm too much of a wild card. I'm at the other extreme that you're at. So, yeah, that's what we need to do. And people like Matt Holman here from 3H Tree Service is going to be out there at this party. And if you want to get a hold of 3H Tree Service, because you got some of those liability trees, we call them Antifa trees. Yeah, they got branches hanging over your neighbor's car. Yeah, they might catch on fire at any point in time. They've got insects and disease. Yeah, total Antifa trees. And 3H Tree Service, they come in, they remove those trees and leave you a beautiful view, and they clean up behind themselves, and they do an excellent job. I mean, I've seen these people. Matt Holman can just drop a tree between two sheds that are no further than 30 feet apart. I mean, I've seen this guy do some incredible work with taking these trees down. Very professional, very good guys. Probably the best price you can get for tree service. 3H Tree Service, 541-294-1800. And every Monday we play Where's 3H Tree Service. There's Jody Hoffman. He won one week. There is Nancy Brown. Hi, Nancy. Nancy was at the Republican meeting. She's always at the meetings. Thank you, Nancy. We appreciate that. And Tom Brown, Tom and Nancy, you guys do so much. You go a lot of times unrecognized with all the work you do. I appreciate you guys always being there, Tom and Nancy. But here she is with Matt Holman of 3H Tree Service as the winner of Where's 3H Tree Service. Don't worry, we'll play next Monday. So if you're not following 3H Tree Service on Facebook, follow them on Facebook. And every Monday, Matt will tell you if they're playing or if they're not playing. and when it starts. It happens every Monday. And all you got to do is go to Facebook to 3H Tree Service and they'll take care of that. Tim from Tom and Gigs, he's still working over there, taking care of those cars. You got an automobile, you need shocks, you need struts, you need to get that car aligned. Maybe you're going to go on a trip and you want to get it checked out before you go on that trip. Well, they can do that. They can do all of that for you and much, much more. They're experts at dealing with cars, car service, and they also are more than just a car store. They're a little car store. That's right. They got those RC cars. They're really cool. I highly recommend it. They're the #1 dealer or the largest dealer of RC cars on the south coast of Oregon. They've got a lot of good stuff there. Look at that. That guy right there behind the car, he can tell you about all the parts, everything you need to keep those cars running and moving. And what's nice is you want to get your kids into a good hobby, a good, healthy hobby. This is a good, healthy hobby right here. And I would recommend it. You know, how many 13-year-old boys do you know? They would just love to do this kind of stuff. And, you know, it doesn't really, when we were young, if we had something like this, because, you know, we had the remote control cars, but they're nothing like what they are today. And I would have personally built a track in my backyard just to have these cars go around and flying around. And they've got a lot of really good choices, good selections. They've got accessories for all the cars, all the wheels, the tires, all the parts for them. They do a really great job, really good selection. And this is at Tom and Gigs. And they also have planes. They have planes as well. And not only that, they have a helicopter, the Hero Copter. This is the one I'm going to start flying over all the homeless encampments. I got to figure out how to hook a loudspeaker to them. We are over you. We are coming down. We are invading your camp. We are coming in. Do not move. Drop to your knees and assume the position. That's what I'd do with a helicopter if I had a Hero Copter. Maybe it's best I don't. And tannerite, you can get your tannerite there. I don't know. Think of the things you could do if you had a remote control helicopter and a little bit of tannerite. I don't know. Think about it. Don't tell the terrorist. And remember, you must be 18 years or older to purchase tannerite. And believe me, they check IDs at Tom and Gigs. They check IDs. And another place you'll need an ID to get into is Herbal Choices. You enjoy partaking in cannabis? I know I do. I make no bones about it. People might get upset, especially Republicans. Go, oh my God, Rob's one of them pot smokers. Yeah, I've been a pot smoker since I've been 12. And there'll be some years, couple of years where I'll just quit. There'll be months when I'll quit and I'll go back. It's not that bad of a habit. I think it's much less detrimental to the human than cigarettes or alcohol. Cigarettes and alcohol. I have never smoked cigarettes. The first cigarette I tried was the last cigarette I tried. I thought, God, this is a disgusting habit. And I think pot is probably less harmful to you. Smoking is not good, but it's probably less harmful for you to smoke than cigarettes. And it's certainly much less harmless than alcohol. Alcohol, I've done all kinds of crazy shit on alcohol, and that stuff I would never do while getting high. The worst thing that might happen if I was high is, there's no bag of Doritos or a box of Twinkies that's safe around me when I get high. But when I get too drunk and I see people out there getting too drunk, I think, wow, if they just would have substitute that hard alcohol for a little bit of pot, we may not be here today. We may not be having this fight tonight, but some people, they just can't handle it. And if you don't partake and you're someone who believes in abstaining, then that is great, because I don't think everyone, I don't think everyone should, own guns. And I certainly don't think everyone should smoke pot. All these things should be personal choices. So if you're someone who's abstaining from this, don't ever yield to pressure. You know what I mean? If you're a young person, if your friends smoke pot, doesn't mean you have to smoke pot. Doesn't mean you have to partake in anything. I mean, there's nothing wrong with keeping your virginity, being pure, not getting tattoos, not getting ear piercings and face piercings. I mean, I see these kids walking around and, if they want to do it, that's fine. But I don't get the appeal of the metal in the face and all the tattoos and stuff. But, if you're a young person, don't fall to peer pressure, because all of that stuff Well, when you get older, those piercings and those holes in your body, they only get bigger and stretched out more. And those tattoos, well, when you get hair places that you didn't think you were going to get because now you're over 30, you're over 40, you're over 50, and now you got hair growing in places that you didn't know was going to grow and starts affecting the look of your tattoo. You start getting fatter and your skin gets wrinklier. It's not good, these tattoos. They don't look so good. You know, they look good when you're 20 and you got them, you know, you got those big pythons and you know, you got, you know, the tattoos on them. That's great. But years later, it doesn't look so good. And so, you know, I'm telling kids, hey, you know, don't cave into peer pressure. Be the cool kid who actually abstains from all that stuff and waits until you're married. And then, you know, you can decide what you want to do with your life. But yeah, I always tell people, you know, herbal choices, best dispensary in the place. But I don't want anyone to be pressured into drinking booze, smoking pot, having sex, doing all those things that if you're not ready for it or you don't want to do it, there's nothing to be ashamed about that. Nothing whatsoever. And herbal choices, you know, people go, wow, Rob, you got some weird commercials. And so I started this a while back because we were doing the Friday night rants. And I think I was drinking a little too much on the Friday night rants. We drink and cuss on Friday nights. And I started putting up the commercials and we would continue the conversations as we were talking about the commercials. So I thought I would just continue this. And so that's how I do commercials, is it kind of fits in with the show and I get to make little comments on it, but I also get to bring you back to, I am a sponsored show and I do support local businesses and Herbal Choices is one of them. And they've been loyal supporters, you think they like their right to be able to partake in smoking pot. They also like the right to own guns. These guys are big Second Amendment supporters. They're big First Amendment supporters. In fact, they like all of the rights that are designated in the Constitution. And so that's why I like these people. And they've been one of my sponsors when I had the radio show, and they've been with me for quite a while. And I really like people who are like this. So once again, just because I'm showing you an advertisement of Herbal Choices doesn't mean I'm telling you to go out there and smoke pot. I'm just telling you this is your option. And if you do want to take that option, they have 5 stores, one in Charleston, one in Coos Bay, one in Bandon, one in Reedsport, and one in North Bend. Yeah. And I think they know me at all the stores. I walk in, they go, oh, hey, Rob, you know, and it's like, oh, God, I shop here way too much. But they're a good group of people. And I'd recommend them highly. One of my favorite dispensaries. And, of course, Oregon Firearms Federation. You know, there's nothing more than I like my rights to my own body, the autonomy of my body. But I also like to be able to defend my body and defend my property. And the only way you can do that, rightfully so, is if you're allowed to own a firearm. And who's fighting for that? Are the Republicans fighting for our Second Amendment right? No. In fact, the Republicans didn't walk out and allowed a really bad gun bill to get through the legislature. Not so much with Oregon Firearms Federation. Kevin was telling them they should just walk. I was telling them to walk. A lot of us were telling them, why are you letting this bad gun bill pass? But they let it pass. And who's going to have to fight these gun bills when we have to take them to court? Oregon Firearms Federation. Now, you have a lot of Republicans out there who talk a lot of crap about Kevin Starrett and Oregon Firearms Federation. Because why? Because he tells the truth about what they're doing. He lets people know that they're really not protecting our Second Amendment and many of the other things that they're up to. And Kevin's great about letting people know what's going on. In fact, if you hear a Republican complaining about Kevin Starrett or Oregon Firearms Federation, that's not a real Republican. He's someone who is bitter because he's not really following his conservative or libertarian values. He's voting with the Democrats. If any politician tells you any kind of crap about Oregon Firearms Federation or Kevin Starrett, the director of Oregon Firearms Federation, that person is a dirtbag. Oregon Firearms Federation is the only no compromise gun group in Oregon, and there's no bones about it. No compromise. We're not going to compromise with your Second Amendment. Kevin truly believes that federal and state regulations that inhibit your right to own a firearm are unconstitutional. And come to find out, so does the Supreme Court. In a lot of cases, the Supreme Court is agreeing with us gun owners. And it's probably because they can read that Second Amendment shall not be infringed. Yeah, they do that, you know. And of course, they're not my sponsors, but I do like to mention them because if you are going to own a firearm, you should know how to use it. And if you're in Bandon, go to the Bandon Gun Club and you can find out more about this group at bandongunclub.org. And if you're looking to sight in your rifle, because they don't have a rifle range at the Bandon Gun Club, but they do at Taiga Sports Park, which is right next to the dump. You know, the dump on 101, they're right next to the dump. TaigaSportsPark.org. If you want to find out more about them before you get out there, it's probably a good idea. And I also want to promote the Coos County Neighborhood Watch. Like I said, and this is no shit, this is one of the first pages I go to every day on Facebook. I like to go there to see who's committing crimes, where those crimes are being committed, and who's getting caught. Yes, that's all can be found on Coos County Neighborhood Watch. And the neat thing is, there are people out there on patrol. I'm willing to bet a couple of our people are out there right now watching their neighborhoods. And I know this because we get feedback on Coos County Neighborhood Watch. And there are people out there, they just love to go walk their neighborhoods. And while they're out walking, they're kind of doing the neighborhood watch thing. And it's really just that. It's you just see and report. You just see and report. You just, if you see a crime, report it. And let the cops know that there's someone in your neighborhood who's up to no good. So Coos County Neighborhood Watch. And of course, the Coos County Citizen Council. As Chris said, we've started a new conservative group. We'll have more about that, but he's still going to be doing the Coos County Citizen Council. And every Wednesday, he's going to have a podcast, really great podcast. And if you saw this show earlier, you know, I tell you what, I am so thankful that Chris moved here when he did move here. Chris Castleman, really great young man. And I want to give him all the support I can. There were a lot of people out there who when I first moved to this county, and of course I was pissing off the powers that be. There were a couple of gentlemen who are people, not even just gentlemen. There were a couple of people who just kind of took me under their wing, kind of mentored me through the political process, and I didn't always follow their advice. You know, when they told me, Rob, you can't tell the city councilors to go F themselves. I don't know why not. Why can't you tell the city councilors to go F themselves? And of course, I realized later on that you have to work with these city councilors down the road. And it's hard to work with people after you told them to go F off. But sometimes you have to. And so, but, you know, there were people who mentored me and gave me a background of what was happening in Coos County going back decades. It was great. You know, there's a lot of old guys. John Shank. I don't know if you guys remember John Shank. He was a Ingvar Dosing, another good one. His wife, Truda. I mean, all of them were involved with Coos County politics. And it was great when I moved here and found like-minded people who were able to guide me through and maneuver through local politics. And that's what I'm trying to do with people like Chris and a lot of young people who are getting involved, because they just don't have a clue, because they're busy as hell. They got to work. They're providing for their family. They don't got time for this crap. So if they do have time, the little bit of time they do have, I want to make sure that they utilize it to the best of their ability. And so that's why I try to help people like Chris and others who are trying to maneuver through the political maze that we have created in this country. And so, you know, hi, I'm Solomon. He says someone a couple of weeks ago liked the county jail food so much that they broke into the county jail because they couldn't wait any longer. Is that true? Wow, I didn't hear about this. Someone broke in to the county jail because they couldn't wait any longer. I don't know if that's true or not. I got a couple of deputies who are my buddy. I'm gonna have to ask him about that. That's funny. I'll talk about that next week if that's true. That's just hilarious. Someone breaking into jail. Wow, that's a first. You know, I had an uncle who he's still a dirtbag. I love my Uncle Mike, but he's still a dirtbag. He's a junkie. He's always been a junkie. But it was funny. I remember this is about a couple of decades ago. He had to get a hernia operation. So to get his hernia operation, he had to figure out a way to get arrested, because when they arrest you and they take you to jail, then that person they take to jail is the responsibility of the jailer. And so they get free dental, they get free medical. And so he needed a hernia operation. So the best way to get a hernia operation, because he couldn't afford to go to the doctor, well, I'll just get arrested and have the taxpayers pay for it. And I see that a lot. People probably don't realize there are a lot of criminals out there who utilize the criminal justice system for their own healthcare system and dental system. It's it's crazy. I myself, unless it's a necessity, I wouldn't provide any medical treatment. I mean, you're lucky we'd give you a bologna sandwich on dry bread every day. That's what you get for a meal, and you get water to drink. That's all you're going to get. No TVs, no books. You get to sit there. You can, you can do push-ups. You can, do pull-ups. You can sit there and read your Bible. But yeah, we're not going to provide you with all the stuff they have to provide prisoners with today. That's nonsense. That's a bunch of nonsense. If you want to do something for prisoners, get their asses out there cleaning the highways. That's what I want to see. All those orange jumpsuits out there cleaning the highways after they violated somebody's rights. I'd like to see those people out on the highway. What a bunch of dirtbags. So yeah, I don't know. Someone breaking into the county jail. I'm going to have to look that up. That's wow. I don't know about the food part, but they did break in. Yeah, that's Hyam. He says that again. Wow. I'm going to have to check that out. Very interesting. Well, folks, we're going to have a Friday night rant. We may have a debate on the Friday night rant. I'm not sure if that was going to happen or not, but in one of the talk groups that I was in, somebody was arguing and they asked me if they could do the debate on my show. So I'm going to find out who wanted to do that debate, and maybe we'll get that on here for Friday night. Wouldn't that be a good Friday night rant to have two people debating out an issue? That'd be great. Instead of just us ranting, instead we'd have two opposing sides. Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think that'd be very, very cool. And I want to thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you who came out and signed the petition. Look at all those petitions. Dang, look at all this. So, but we're not anywhere near what we need. So please, if you can, go to nvbn.com and sign the petition. Get a single. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, Chris, for coming on the show. I'll see you all Friday on the Friday Night Rant. It's been a blast. And you know what I always say? Until next time, folks, carry on, Coos County. Carry on.